Tell it straight. No evasions, no fictions. Tell it to everyone who had a piece of me and were promised more and were disappointed. Here is the last of the many versions of the Magnus Pym you thought you knew. But how to begin? Sometimes we have to do a thing in order to find out the reason for it. Sometimes our actions are not answers. They are questions.
Where is he, Mary?
Oh, I have no idea where he is. That's why I phoned you.
From the airport, right? Where you bellowed at some poor British Airways clerk.
I'd seen his bloody suitcase going around the bloody carousel, Jack. He'd booked onto that plane, London to Vienna, arriving here 7:15, and there was his suitcase. So where was Magnus?
Where might he be?
He might have been kidnapped. He might be dead.
Kidnapped, there's a word. Who might order that? The Russians? The Czechs? The Americans?
Maybe the firm. Your firm.
The firm had the RAF fly me out here in the middle of the night to find him. Some people, our people, think they've traced him to Edinburgh, but I think all they've spotted is tradecraft.
Misdirection.
Right, the kind of tradecraft you were trained in too. And jolly good you are. You're drinking too much. Jesus Christ, Mary. Magnus is my best boy, and he's been missing for 5 days. What have you done with him?
What have I done?
I have to wonder, it's my job. Is your husband, my best boy, is he a bad man? And have you been bad along with him?
There was a decent turnout at your grandfather's funeral, Tom. But of course, Jack, we have to wonder how many of them were watchers. Yours, but ours, I should say. Or Americans, or the other lot. Not to mention CID and taxmen. Still, they filled the place out a bit, and Rick did love a full house. He'd have wanted one at his own hanging. And he would have been delighted by the young man who accosted me on the crematorium steps, waving a piece of paper and saying the ceremony must be stopped. See here, sir, see? Black and white and signed and witnessed twice, 15th of October, 1947. In consideration of the sum of £50 cash, I, Richard T. Pym of Chester Street, furthering medical science. See? Yes, I saw. 30-odd years ago, Rick had sold his own head to a teaching hospital for 50 quid in cash. I gave the lad a cheque for 100. Those first 3 days in London were bizarre indeed. On day one, I went to the basement flat where he'd died. I found there 2 fading lovelies, Rose and Lily, on their knees, going through the last of Rick's files, tearing open and scanning and discarding. Lily and Rose. Really, those really were their names. They'd been with him when he died. We was having a little cuddle, if you want to know, in the bedroom, with steak and onions and a drop of drambuie. We was holding him, both of us, right, Rose? Right, Lily. Both of us holding him there in the bedroom. And his breathing went all funny. You want to see him, son? Want to see your poor dad? And they led me through, motherly, each of them holding one of my hands. But not to the bedroom. They led me to the bathroom. See, old son, see? Killing me isn't nearly enough.
So he goes to London for his father's funeral, and he disappears. Did he phone you?
No.
Would he usually?
Not always. And he'd have things to tidy up. His father's affairs.
He didn't always phone, but he usually did. And this time he didn't. He didn't look into head office. He didn't contact me. He did visit Tom at his school.
Really?
That's your last, so make it last. I want you sober and thinking straight and talking straight. Nigel will be here soon. Other guests as well.
Nigel?
It's that serious, Mary. London's having the vapours.
In 1929, Richard Pym married Dorothy Godchild Watermaster, sister of Sir Makepeace Watermaster. The Watermasters owned the Glades, the grandest house within 50 miles. My Rick and their Dorothy. How did such a pairing come about? Years later, I asked Sid about it. Sid Lemon. I've told you about Uncle Sid, Tom. You may never have met him, but he'd see you right if it killed him. So I asked Sid, how on earth did Rick win Dot? He made her laugh, Titch. That's for one thing, and some thought it a miracle itself. Your old man was captain of the Tabernacle football team.
They won a cup one year, and Dorothy, sister of the Liberal member, she was invited to do the presentation. Along the line of the troops she went, pinning a medal on every chest. When she got to Rick, he let out an howl, like he'd been stabbed, and down he went on one knee, and he looks up and he says, "You pierced me to the heart, me lady." And Dorothy laughed. Never seen or heard before, and not often since, our Dot's laughing. Then your old man and Sir Makepeace had a serious falling out. It was about church money, restoration fund. Turned out Rick had invested a sizable wad of it in a bold venture, a transport venture that was going to make us a fortune, make the church a fortune. The Pym and Salvation Coach Company. Emergency meeting, church hall, standing room only, Sir Makepeace in the chair, demands for books and files and accounts and all company records. And your old man, Chich, he looked at Sir Makepeace, looked at him deadly and still. There's a look your father can give. Well, the way he dotes on you, you'll never have seen it.
Oh, but I have seen it, Sid, more than once. His eyes, then. They have a glint in them. The glint of a flick knife in the dark.
That's the one. So, very night of the emergency meeting, your old man's up at the Glades till all hours locked away with Sir Makepeace. Very next day, Dorothy became our Dot, Mrs. Richard Pym.
You ever look in your mother's Bible, son?
Yes?
Of course you do. You look in everybody's books, drawers and cupboards too, eh? As long as you don't try your father's filing cabinet, that is sacred. Secrets in there can bite you. But other than that, on you go, under the mattress and all 8 pockets of every suit.
9. 9 if you count the one at the breast.
Crackerjack, boy.
And those little ones in the waistcoat.
One of the highest in the land, that's where you're going to be. But you should be asleep, it's late.
I know.
Oh, where was I?
Mummy's Bible.
Right, there it is. First inside page. To Dorothy. With all my special love. Makepeace. Special love. From brother to sister in the holy, holy Bible. Sacrilegious. Did you know there was 25 years between them? Could have been his daughter. She was so young, pale as a plant grown in a cellar. And the wife, Lady Nell, she won't 50 yet, but a shriveled up, hunched up thing, haggy as a witch. I tell you, they had some odd arrangements up there in the Glades. That great house all sprawling. And your mother would sleep in a faraway little corner, as far as she could get from Lady Nell, even further away from her own brother. Why am I telling you this?
I don't know, Father.
You should be asleep.
I know, it's just...
Just what? Shut your eyes and go to sleep.
I'll try.
Try? You'll do as you're told, and I said shut eye.
But you're...
What, losing my patience?
No. You're hurting me. You're squeezing my leg.
So, who was at this dinner, this diplomatic happy hour?
Dinkel from the Austrian ministry and his wife. Moore from the German Signals Bureau and his wife. Grant Lederer.
And his wife, B. the Alki. He's CIA, of course, Grant Lederer, our American cousin with the black beard and the black thoughts.
Magnus calls him a Cassius looking for a Caesar.
Does he indeed? Last year, when the Americans were pitching all manner of doubt on Magnus when he had to be pulled out of Washington, did Magnus know Lederer was one of the pitchers?
He's American. He's a spook. He calls himself our friend. All the makings of an assassin.
So when did the call come?
Around 9, I think. Magnus was out for no more than 2 minutes, came back, said it was just one of Whitehall's little rumbles, carried on for another 2 hours, being his usual life and soul. Then when everyone was gone, he stood there, just where you are, and gazed at me.
Gaze. Lovely, loving word.
He said, I'm free. Free of what? He said Rick was dead. Heart attack.
He said he was free. He says, my father's dead and I'm free. Or did he say what you just said? Rick is dead. One of your Freudian types, is he? Can't say father.
It's perfectly normal at his age to call a father by their first name, especially when they hadn't seen each other for years. And this is my home. I'm going to have another drink.
In...
Mr. Brotherhood. Here we are.
Hello, Jack. Hello, Mary. So sorry about all this.
We'll be as quiet as we can.
Make as little mess as we can.
Start upstairs.
Will do.
See you later, Mary.
They have luggage.
I told you, guests. Georgie will be putting some clever little machines in your phones.
How did they get in?
They have keys. This isn't really your home now. This place belongs to the firm. It belongs to London. It's forever England in a foreign field.
Life at the court of King Richard the Pym. This house, that house, another and yet another. Mansions and bungalows and high suites in good hotels and basement flats in dingy side streets. In every house, big or small, that old green, scratched and battered and sacred filing cabinet. A Bentley, a second Bentley. A Bentley kept hidden among bushes behind yet another house. A bishop and a Baptist and a Tory MP and a windmill girl. Young Sir Magnus the Titch up on a table singing. Poker and bridge and canaster and dominoes. Perce Loft, the great lawyer, known as Perce the Writ. Maury Washington, the great accountant, known as Maury the Fiddle. Sid Lemon, the great all-rounder, first lieutenant and beloved disciple of Rick the Master. Boxers and strippers and actors and jockeys, real-life members of the actual crazy gang asleep on the floor in the morning. Titch doing his voices, Greta Garbo and Max Miller and Churchill and Groucho Marx. Titch could do them all. Money, cheques, both bouncing and bountiful, cash of every lovely denomination. Even you, Jack, great spy that you are, could never have tracked all that money, liquidity. Flowing and gushing and ebbing and draining away to a trickle, only to rise to a full flood again. And dear, sweet, trembling Dorothy, my Dot, dragged to the phone to say, no, I can't do that voice. Just cannot. She told Mrs. Wentworth, she was holding my hand for courage as she said it, she told Mrs. Wentworth that of course it would be all right. Mr. Pym would see the Wentworths all right if it killed him. So Mrs. Wentworth really and truly had nothing to worry about, and my fingers were squeezed and sore. Who's Wentworth? I asked. But she was silent. And I'm sorry, Tom. Sorry I can't do your grandmother's voice for you. She's a silent ghost now. She's gone. How Dot has dwindled to nothing.
Well, well, basement and lumber room, office and studio.
I do my bookbinding here.
Glues, clamps, knives.
It's satisfying. Craft.
This is Magnus's desk.
Yes.
You do his homework for the firm here?
Sometimes, and his book.
Ah, yes, the great novel. Yeah, where is it?
I'm not sure he got much further than notes, jottings. He did some on Lesbos in the summer, but even that was only a beginning. Undercoat, as he called it.
So where is this undercoat?
I don't know. What I saw of it didn't make much sense. I'm not sure it did to him either. 1 minute elated, next he was sullen. Even took to the drink one time.
Yes, mood swings and roundabouts on Lesbos. Autobiographical, is it? The great novel, My Life as a Spy.
More about childhood, I think.
There's no desk diary.
He didn't keep one. Said it was insecure. He sometimes asked me to put things in my diary.
Such as? Show me. 26 September, 6:30 p. This one is?
Yes.
There's a There's a P on the 16th as well. So who's P?
No idea. Maybe Joe.
Agent P? Or maybe just a woman, Penelope, or Patricia, Pauline. No more than that, another woman. Could she be at the back of all this?
I don't know.
I thought wives always knew.
Not with Magnus, you don't.
So no big marital tiff recently?
We don't have them.
How do you manage that?
Doesn't offer a fight.
You do?
I used to.
I remember, a demon when you got started.
Oh, not anymore, Jack. And he asked me to put those things in my diary because it was a kind of sharing about his work. He couldn't tell me what he was doing, but he could show me he was doing something important. He was proud of that. He'd never say it, but I knew it. He was proud to be of use.
To the firm?
Yes, Jack. Who do you think? To the firm, to you, and God help me, it's true, to his country.
It could be argued, Jack, that my life truly began not, as you may think, when you recruited me to the firm, and not even when I was born in the flesh, but when Lippsie arrived, in her raggedy gabardine, and clutching her cardboard suitcase, clutching it to her breast like a flimsy shield.
Ladies and gentlemen, lackeys and lovelies, please welcome to our congregation and gang, Miss Anna Lipschitz. She'll answer to Lippsie. Hey. Lippsie made it all on her own, a trek, an exodus, all the way from Munich to London. Dear old Perce here, lawman extraordinary.
Perce the Ritz.
He found her there, with nowhere to lay her head.
Nice catch on, Perce.
And now she's here, and we'll be her shelter and abode.
Means we'll see you right, darling.
For us, she's an asset. She can do secretarial, and she's musical, and she's as bright as they come. Now, Lippsie is a daughter of Abraham.
Means she's a 4x2.
Oh, none of your rhyming claptrap here, Sid Lemon.
Affectionate, Governor. Some of my best mates, you know.
Why don't you put down your suitcase?
She will when she's ready, son. Don't pester.
He does not pester. He's a lovely boy.
Oh,
Polite.
brought up to be that and more. Now, Lippsie is of the Jewish faith, and she's from Germany, and we know what that means. We know why she's in need of shelter. Hitler's a monster, and he has millions of goblins to do his bidding. Can you tell these good people what you've already lost, Lippsie? Anna? Oh, no shame if you can't.
Family.
These are your family now. We are.
My father was an architect. My mother was an excellent pianist. My brother was to be a lawyer.
And she's lost them all. 2 sisters she hasn't heard from in months.
Yeah.
So what do we say to that? What do we say, Magnus?
Consequently, this country is at war with Germany.
Yay! Oh, get my boy on the stage. Up on the table here. All right, up and out. Let's have a good one, boy. Give your best for our Lippsie.
All right, if I do a slow one.
We don't want sob stuff.
Yes, slow and gentle.
Underneath the arches, we dream our dreams away.
Underneath the arches.
Like an actor without a part. Empty. I'm putting lots of soda in it.
What actor? What part?
That was the look he had when he told me about his father.
And this look of his, what, bereavement? Freedom? This is a man he hadn't bothered to see in umpteen years, and don't tell me he was still his father.
But he was.
Did he shed a tear? This actor without a father?
No, I did. For Magnus.
What did he do?
He put his duffel coat over his shoulders and went for a walk. What are they doing up there? That's Tom's room. They've no need to be in there.
He didn't change? He's in his party suit and his dancing shoes, and he just flings on a duffel coat and off he goes. Into the night? Into the snow?
To walk it out of himself. He did that sometimes. Walk things off. Why are they in Tom's room?
Any calls while he was out?
No.
And when he got back?
One, very late.
Who was it?
We didn't answer. We were making love.
Right. I remember how absorbed you could be at a time like that.
No, you don't, Jack. You really do not.
In.
Sorry to butt in, Mary. Jack, would you mind popping upstairs a jiffy?
Is what I offer you now a memory or a dream? It has the slowness and the silence of a dream, and misty colours, cobweb grey and creamy white. I am crawling from the foot of the bed towards Dot and Rick, who are sitting up against many plump pillows. But before I can reach them, Dot is uncurling sideways, slowly out of the bed, away to fetch breakfast. And now I am there. I'm cosy. I'm between Rick and Lippsie, and we're eating toasted cheese, a dream of breakfast in bed. But this is no dream. It happened many wide-awake times. Lippsie did indeed give me my bath.
Wentworth, how much is a Wentworth?
You splash too much. What is a Wentworth?
It's a secret. Father has a whole cabinet full of them. It's all bashed and battered, but it's a sacred thing.
Sacred? That's a powerful word.
Yes, because there are secrets in there that can bite you, or maybe burn you. And maybe if you try to open it, there's a trigger thing and it blows up. A man from the Secret Service could invent that. Some of those men are scientists. Father knows lots of scientists.
And men from Secret Service?
Lots. But of course he won't talk about that.
Of course not. Your hair is so soft, Magnus.
Lippsie,
Yes.
have you heard from your sisters yet?
Not yet, no.
They'll be all right. They are all right, honestly.
We hope so.
No, it's true. Sometimes I just know things. I don't know how, but I just do.
Sometimes I think you just make them up.
But they're still true.
Maybe. And for sure, they are made up out of kindness.
I have never known a woman with so much touching in her hands. Lippsie could touch me as she might hold a wounded bird. And she knew, no doubt about it, how much young Magnus wanted to see her naked. So one day she said, "Here is a way to help against the Nazis. We use less hot water." And she and that blessed boy shared a bath. How much giving was in that woman.
See, Magnus, soon there will be roses.
I prefer poppies, but when I'm older, I'll breed special orchids. There's a lot of money in orchids.
They say English roses are the most beautiful, heavenly.
Really?
Well, English people say they are. And some English people say Hitler is not all wrong. Not entirely. I've heard them.
I have my penknife with me.
Yes?
Yes. And if anyone talks like that to you again, I'll cut their head off. What are you doing? Checking if my hair's still soft.
I'm looking at your eyes. I'm praying not too many bad things get into them. And I have decided. I will teach you many wonderful things about the world. And I will teach you to play the flute.
I'm afraid I never did master the flute. But yes, Lippsie did make life wonderfully real for me. And death, too. She brought death home to me.
Did you really have to tear the boys' room apart?
We'll put it all right again, Mary. Promise.
We had to move this toy chest to get to the chimney. And on a ledge just above the grate.
You've seen this before?
It's a shoebox. How do I know if I've seen it before?
A shoebox hidden in the chimney.
If you knew it was up there, Mr. Brotherhood, once you had the knack, you could get it out without moving the chest.
It must be Tom's, a game.
Playing at spies.
A very clever little bit of machinery, this. See, you extend this bracket, set the camera in face down, fixed distance from your document.
It's for the firm. It's for you. It must be.
Must it really?
For his Joes. A Joe brings him papers. He has to photograph them quickly.
This coat pad, sir, it looks like Czech to me.
Could be Russian.
Could be, but I reckon Czech. And these were between the pages.
Flowers?
Petals. Anyway, falling apart. Been here a long time. Roses, maybe?
Poppies, I think. Wild poppies.
Poppies, Mary. Now what or who might they be in remembrance of?
Lippsie! Lippsie, where are you? My homely train won't work. The electric's gone. Lippsie!
Through the open front door, he sees 3 cars on the gravel. Not Bentleys, black Wolseleys. Drivers in peaked caps, and there are men in brown Macintoshes getting out of the back seats. No use telling Dot. She's already a ghost. She's in the kitchen, muttering to herself as she stirs soup from a tin on a ring with no heat. And it will be years before he understands why Lippsie won't come out of hiding. She has seen people taken away before. Run, young Pym. Run upstairs and round and up again, up the narrow staircase to the attic, where you find Rick, loading files and papers by the armful into the sacred cabinet, and run right into him.
Wait! No! Come here! Never! You do not do that! You don't sneak up on me and you don't bash into me!
I didn't sneak.
The gleam of the flick knife in the eyes.
Come here.
I was running.
When I'm judged, son, as we all shall be, God will judge me on how I treat you. You love your old man?
Yes.
Well then.
There are police cars in the drive.
Liquidity. It's just a bit of a problem with liquidity. Temporary. Now, help your old man here. Open that cupboard door. Right. Clear that junk out. That's it. Make us a space. Good chap, Magnus. Oh yeah, well done, Pym. Here's what happens. You take this key and you give it to Sid. No one else. You give the key to Uncle Sid and you tell him where the cabinet is. And where will the cabinet be?
In that cupboard, buried behind the junk.
Excellent, man. A downright hero.
And this excellent, downright little hero is sentenced to life with ghostly Dot back in the gloomy glades, the big dark jailhouse of her youth. Sir Makepeace is still the fearsome governor. The food is bad, the bed is cold, the walls are damp, and Dot takes to moaning and grinding her teeth. If Pym complains, he is told he will be put on bread and water like his father. And how does Pym respond? Well, Jack, you should be proud. He practices tradecraft. He posts letters over the wall. I have been kidnapped to a fearsome house. He patrols every inch of the grounds and later draws a detailed map with arrows indicating escape routes and hides it under slippers in a shoebox. He learns the art of subtle sabotage. He enlarges every third hole in a lace curtain, many hours of dedicated clandestine work. He pours away half a bottle of cough mixture and replaces it with laxative. He blocks a lavatory with a feather boa. When at last the Gestapo arrive, disguised as a doctor and 2 hefty nurses, and take Dot away, he adopts an escape plan so bold and brave, even you, Jack, would balk at it. He waits an entire week, calmly and quietly, and then he writhes on the floor and clutches his stomach and wets himself and screeches. And yes, Jack, that boy goes all the way. He allows himself to be rushed to hospital and yields up his perfectly healthy appendix in the interest of operational cover. When he wakes up, the first face he sees is that of a koala bear as big as himself. On the bed is a basket of fruit bigger than the bear. Then Lippsie peeps from behind the bear's head, and there too are Sid and Rick, who wears the uniform of a private in the British Army.
Lippsie.
Hello, Magnus.
Look at his hair. What are they been up to? Turning him into an airy fairy?
Are you a soldier now, Father?
He is. Hitler's done for.
Not the rank I should be. Propaganda. I'd be the man to lift the morale.
First, Rick did what he could. Waterside compassion, he said. Delicate kid, mother shipped off to the...
High-grade rest home.
Right.
And you, laddie, time you were at school,
I've been to lots of schools.
But now you settle into one. Now we set your feet on the hard road to becoming Lord Chief Justice and accredit your old man. You'll be a fully paid-up boarder at Mr. Grimble's Country Academy for the Sons of Gentlemen.
You mean I have to live there?
Good news, Titch. Lippsie's going with you.
Education, Magnus. Information. Without that, we go nowhere. With information, we can go anywhere. We are like turtles. Our house is on our backs. You learn to write, you can make stories anywhere. A musician can make music anywhere. With information, we need no permit, only our heads. Our world must be inside our heads. That is the only safe way.
At Grimble's school, boys are flogged for tardiness, and flogged for untidiness, and for apathy, and for cheek and bedwetting, and flogged for not improving from the flogging. And how does our boy Magnus, our best boy Jack, fit into this barbarity? He performs an astonishing feat of infiltration and disguise. He behaves like an agent seasoned and trained for just this mission. He is everyone's chum. He comforts smaller and younger new boys. He slaves and runs and carries for older boys. And he tells those bullies of the misdoings of some of the smaller boys. He runs errands and washes cars and tidies storerooms for any teacher who'll put up with him. He volunteers for everything and obeys every bell that summons him, terms of it, summers and winters of it, long lifetimes of it. And of course, essential stratagem, Jack, he befriends the strongest and most handsome and most privileged boy in the school, Kenneth Sefton Boyd.
The greatest batsman of all time is not an Englishman. That is shameful.
My father brought Bradman to our house one weekend.
I wouldn't brag about your old man. They don't like spivs here.
Would the government send a spiv on a mission to assassinate Hitler?
To get rid of the spiv, they might. But what's that German of yours doing in the overflow house? Shitlips, is it?
Miss Anna Lipschitz answers to Lippsie. And you know what she's doing. She teaches music and she does secretarial.
So what was she up to in the bell tower? That Spotty Williams boy saw her at the high window, just staring out.
She gets sad sometimes.
You see right across the valley from up there. Wizard place to signal to German bombers.
If she could, she'd send them back where they came from. Lippsie's absolutely on our side. And she's taught me a lot. History, geography, even a bit of German.
Say something Hun.
Dort, wo man Butcher verbund, man verbund und Menschen. Yes.
Well, what's it mean?
Something about a man can burn as good as a book.
Codswallop.
Poetry. And Boyd...
What?
Sorry, Sefton Boyd. My father's not really on a mission to kill Hitler.
Well, I'll be poleaxed. What then? Off to sell nylons and chocolate?
All that's just a smokescreen. He does do secret work. I can't tell you it all because I don't know it all. He works under the name of Wentworth, and that's damnably secret. Or maybe that's his real name. So does that mean I'm not really a Pym? All this hush-hush and double names makes a chap have doubts about what he is.
I'll tell you one thing, doubtless, Pym. You are priceless.
Rick always sends word when he plans to visit. Magnus must meet him at the school gate, and 9 times out of 10 he doesn't appear. Sometimes Sid turns up, or Pursloft, or a brace of lovelies, or no one at all. But sometimes an entire carload arrives. Rick and Sid and the brace of lovelies. The gang, well refreshed, roar their support as Magnus struggles manfully through the Flanders mud of the rugger pitch. Then, from a crate in the boot of the car, they hand out rare and astonishing oranges. Once it is nectarines.
Your old man is seeing this place right, my son. Healthiest school in Britain. Ask him at the ministry. You want half a crown?
Then Rick is off with a bottle of bubbly to cheer up our Lippsie in the overflow house. The headmaster asks what exactly his father does. Pym can't say exactly, sir. A businessman. Freewheeling, he thinks. And his mother? She left when he was little. Just sort of vanished. Are you familiar, Pym, with the activities of the Loft and Lemon Friendly and Academic Limited? No? And yet you, boy, appear to be a director of this company. The company which pays your school fees, or does not pay them. Your father would seem to enjoy a certain luxury. He has presented me with nectarines, fine wine, and French perfume for my wife. Are you aware, Pym, that one day we all must choose between God and Mammon? Oh, Pym is aware, sir. Lippsie, Miss Lipschitz, has explained that to him. No man can serve two masters. Gospel of Matthew, sir. Has Pym ever considered entering the church? Pym, he of the soulful face, says, yes, sir. He has considered it often.
Get out of my bed.
Let me finish my smoke at least.
Out now. Out of my room. Out of school. Out of my life.
Have another drop of bubbly and we'll talk.
No more bubbly. No more talk. No more lies. I will die before I lie and thieve for you.
Oh, silly dramatics.
But where is Magnus?
Dramatic? It is not dramatic. You make an honest refugee woman a thief.
You're no thief, Lippsie.
What am I, then?
How can he hear all this so clearly? Is he under the bed?
I ask you, what am I?
In the wardrobe with the door ajar?
You are the honest daughter of an honest man and an honest woman.
No.
And I need you. I need you for Magnus' sake. That boy loves you like a mother. Now, don't cry.
God will make you weep too, Ricky Pym. I hope he will.
Maybe standing in the corner with a lampshade on his head. I present two letters, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The first, stolen and much abridged, is from Rick to Lippsie.
My darling, in a matter of weeks, Purse the Writ will have arranged my discharge, and then we can enjoy our well-deserved reward. Meantime, I'm working on something that will bring untold benefits to Wentworth and many like him, so please don't fret about Wentworth, and certainly not that wife of his. She's a professional troublemaker of the worst kind out. And talk about killing yourself is dramatic foolishness, with so many killing each other in this senseless and tragic war. Look after that boy of mine who loves you like a mother, and make sure he doesn't turn out airy-fairy.
The second, presented entire, is from Lippsie to Magnus.
My dear, darling Magnus, you must be a good boy, always. Make your own music and be strong like a man to your father. I love you.
Sure you don't want a fag?
No.
The gardener won't notice the smell. He smokes that monstrous pipe of his all the time in here. Or do you never partake?
No.
Oh. A fag might help you take the details. As you like. As she was lying at the foot of the bell tower, on her side. She was in a weird kind of running position, one hand out for the finishing line. I thought it might be a special German exercise thing, running or cycling on her side. Then I saw the blood. Thought it was a towel spread out that she was lying on, but there were leaves sticking to it. I was all right there. We own masses of land, and I've done a lot of shooting, used to blood and innards. She must have been leaning out the high window, signalling maybe. Maybe drunk, maybe pushed, jumped. Thing is, she'd been wearing her nightdress, and it was all rucked up. Could see a lot, Pym.
I've seen her naked in the bath. She's beautiful.
Not now. Shit Lips is far from beautiful now.
You know your mission, Pym. You must go to the most out-of-bounds place in the school, the staff lavatory. Now lock yourself in. Yes, it smells of cricket bats and Swiss forests. Look at the secret majesty of brass taps and the mirror framed in mahogany. Look at yourself. You are as pale as whitewash, but you are the boldest spy on earth. You are the knight of the green filing cabinet. Open your penknife and make your Arthurian vow. By Excalibur, I swear. You mustn't cut your throat, not when your mission is unfulfilled. The wood panelling. Your eyes are hot and blurry, but find the loveliest panel, and deeply into it carve the initials. K. S. B.
Silence! Kenneth Sefton Boyd, go at once to the study of Mr. Grimble. Shame and mortification await you.
Like being flogged with barbed wire and hellfire. And the sod that actually did it, he put in a hyphen. KS-B. We don't have a hyphen. Ignorant bastard. Should have a confession tortured out of him.
Absolutely, and I'll help you. What about Mags in the third form? He's off his head, and he hates you.
Oh, he doesn't have the guts.
A village oik was spotted in the grounds last week with a dagger in his belt.
Once thoroughly tortured, killed.
I'll help you there too. Torture and killing both.
You know, Pym, I do believe you mean that.
Of course I do.
You utterly, insanely mean every word.
Last year, Jack, when the Americans came after him with all their accusations and innuendo, who defended him? You did. Others, too, but you most of all. You know, Magnus once said you'd had too many miles in the saddle. The Boy Scout days are over. Should have retired the old boy years ago. But there you were, to the rescue. You showed them all their fancy new computer nonsense was just that. They were determined to see a pattern when there was none, just a cloud of coincidence and illusion, and you blew the cloud away. Even then, they brought him home and put him through a hostile interview. He was cleared.
Tell me about Lesbos. He was elated and sullen, you said. Then he took to the drink.
Oh, for God's sake, that was just a couple of shaky days, nothing to do with this.
We don't know what this is yet. Tell me about the shaky days.
He went out for a walk, quite late one night. He said he was going to the taverna to see if Dimitri was there. Clever old Greek, Magnus enjoyed his company. Next morning, he hadn't come back. Still not back at lunchtime. So, we went to the taverna, Tom and I. Found Dimitri. He hadn't seen Magnus for days. On our way back to the guest house, we found him sitting at a table outside a cafe, eating bacon and eggs. He was still drunk. He said he'd got into a real session with Dimitri. Old bugger drank me under the bloody table. I told him I'd talked to Dimitri just 10 minutes ago.
What did he say?
You've been checking on me. Shouldn't do that, love. I said I wasn't checking on him, I was looking for him. Then it turns out it was an old Joe he used to run. Walked straight into him, stumbling out of the lowest type of bar. Seems he threatened to expose Magnus as a British spy if he didn't give him money, or at least buy him a meal and a lot of drink. So Magnus proceeded to drink the Joe under the bloody table.
Any more?
Yes. I asked him if the old Joe was the one with the limp and the moustache Tom had seen him with at the cricket match. According to Tom, they'd walked round and round the ground together. That's the one, says Magnus. Well spotted, Tom. Know something, Mabs? Nothing goes away in life. Tom had said the old Joe looked wise and kind, and he was senior to Dad. He used that word, senior. So, next time he went for one of his walks, I searched his desk.
What did you find?
Not much. There was his book, of course, not the one he's writing. Simplicissimus, German, picaresque 17th century. I'd offered to rebind it for him, but he liked it the way it was, because that's the way it was given to him. It was like a mascot or something.
Who gave it to him?
On the flyleaf, to Sir Magnus, who will never be my enemy.
No name? Initials?
No.
What else did you find?
Not much. Scribbled foolscap pages. Seemed to be several goes at a chapter 1, all about an orphan boy. Lots of crossings out, and random phrases here and there on all sizes of paper.
Give me some.
Poppy. Dearest bloody Poppy. Get your dogs off my doorstep.
Poppy. Like the flowers in the chimney, but singular, one poppy. A name. What else?
A bit of the Bible. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. I didn't see a lot, Jack, because I was discovered. Magnus called me. And do you know what he did? He held me close, and then he carried me upstairs, and we made love. Very gently.
Faithful in little, faithful in much. Turn that around, and what do you get? Faithless in little. The holiday was my idea, by the way.
But it was Magnus...
Right. He may have said, Mabs, let's just drop it on and go somewhere. He may have suggested Lesbos, because I told him to disappear for a while. Stay away from Vienna, I said. The Americans are seeing their patterns again. They're still after you. Seems this Poppy is too. Whoever she is, with her dogs on the doorstep.
Betrayal can only happen if you love. It's another one of his lines, I remember. Don't try to make me hate him, Jack.
Mary, this must all be so ghastly for you.
Hello, Nigel.
Jack? Mary, the demands our country has made on your family over the years. Grandfather at Passchendaele, a brother in Belfast.
Are you saying Magnus is dead?
Oh, good Lord, no. I'm speaking about patriotism. Not many members of your family haven't been on our books in one way or another.
My husband is a patriot.
Well, of course he is, as are we three in this room. However, what we must have from you now is a full and detailed statement. Formal but voluntary is the tone we want.
Voluntary? She signed the Official Secrets Act when she joined us. Signed it again when she left. Signed it a third time when she married Pym. Everything she knows belongs to us.
Jack, Brotherhood. Eloquent as always. There's been a development. The station burn box is missing.
Since when? Who signed it out?
It wasn't signed out. But Chancery Guard says Magnus called at the embassy on Thursday morning on his way to the airport. Quick visit. Upstairs and down, and a final sad wave. Funeral to attend. And off he went with his large black briefcase.
Jesus Christ.
What's a burn box?
She wouldn't know. She was never higher than grade 9.
It's a kind of diplomatic pouch, Mary, steel-lined. And when you tell it to, it burns up whatever is inside.
And what's inside this one?
Names, cover names, agents in place, all our checks, a few Poles, Hungarian or two.
And what else?
Isn't that enough?
Quite enough, I should say.
No. There's something else. What else is in it?
Nothing.
Nothing at all, Mary.
One time only, when Magnus bicycled down the drive to the school gate, he found no Bentley and no squadron of Rick's court. He found Rick alone, with a grin you could have seen for miles, leaning on a bicycle of his own. And that day, Tom, that day Rick gave his son a perfect day. I can only hope that I've given you some days half as good as that one was. We rode to Farley Abbot, which is by the sea, and we sang underneath the arches all the way. Sitting on an esplanade bench, we ate the best fish and chips I've ever tasted. We made plans to buy that little town some day and run the chip shop ourselves. We rode our bikes on the sand, singing our song again. Then we played cricket. Rick had thought to bring bat and ball. And then we skimmed pebbles on the small waves, and then we lay in the dunes and had our picnic. Pop for me, and bubbly for Rick, and Rhind-Tutt with foie gras for both of us.
We dream our dreams away.
You know, son, this war's going to be over sometime.
When we win it?
Of course, when we win it. Who else but the British can win it?
Lippsie said the Russians won't.
Well, yeah, they could be some help. Better than the Yanks, anyway. I know how much you miss her, son. Give us a hug here. Dear old Lippsie. She was crackerjack, but she was too fragile, that girl. Took too much guilt on herself.
Guilt about what?
Oh, you know, being alive. Getting out and surviving when so many others were... Anyway. Where was I?
After the war.
Right. You think about this, son. This is important. Think about all the raids, the bombs, the blitz in London and all over the country. What does that mean?
Blood and innards.
Innards?
Dead people.
Innards? Where are you getting words like that? Right enough. Many have fallen, and God bless their souls. But it also means bomb sites. Empty bits of land, you know? 1,000 upon 1,000 of homeless people. Someone's got to see them right, you know, build on that empty land, build the houses the people need. A fortune in reconstruction. There are millions to be made, son. And we're the boys to make them. And all those people will put roofs over their heads. Give them the homes fit for the heroes they are. Fancy a half-crown?
Yes, please.
Well, you can't have it. Here's 10 bob instead.
You never met your grandfather, Tom. I would never allow that. But he was, in his way, in his own infuriating, inspiring, merciless way, he was a great man. He had a brain worth far more than the £100 I paid for it. And his heart, crackerjack. He'd see you right if it killed him. He stood for Parliament once, did you know that? He did. Liberal candidate for Gulworth North in East Anglia. This was long after Grimble's school. I was at Oxford by then, reading languages when I was supposed to be reading law. And now, more than a schoolboy domestic amateur spy, I am semi-professional, as you well know, Jack. My recruiter, my tempter. Semi-professional, semi-trained, and poorly equipped. I have a pair of steel dividers with which I've been taught to spring locks. And with these, very late one night, I go down the steps into the cellar of Mrs. Searle's Temperance Rest Liberal campaign headquarters. Slowly, silently down the staircase that smells of cats and stale beer. Down here, on the other side of this final door, lies the dangerous chipped green filing cabinet, and its secrets will be mine at last. But there is a pale light in here. There is a woman in here. In one hand she holds a bicycle lamp, in the other a chisel.
Who are you?
I know you. You're the son, Magnus, the little helper.
I've seen you at meetings. You wear a veil, and you never clap.
Aye, that's me. My name's Wentworth. Your father killed my husband. As good as killed me too. And if it takes me the rest of my living death, I'll find the proof of it. Peggy Wentworth will bring that brute to justice.
I wish I could have told her there and then, in that cellar, she with her chisel and I with my dividers, the cabinet between us. It's here in this room with me now. It stands against the wall. A stunted monolith. A sentry asleep at his post. A dumbly insolent servant. The wall around it is rather shabby. How many years since I hung that paper? Where was I? Yes. I hadn't the knowledge then, or the despair, to tell her, Peggy, I have seen that man on his back, his marbled feet crossed, his hands, icy cold, cupped almost into fists, marble and ice. Yet his gaze burned into me like love, like challenge. Peggy, even killing him isn't enough.
In A Perfect Spy by John le Carré, dramatised for radio by Robert Forrest, Magnus was played by Julian Rhind-Tutt, Rick by Michael Maloney, Jack, Bill Paterson, Mary, Ruth Gemmell, Lippsie, Melody Grove, Sid Lemon, Ewan Bailey, Sefton Boyd, Tom Forrester, Georgie, Samara McLaren, Fergus, Tom Stewart, Peggy Wentworth, Aoife McMahon, and Nigel by Gerard McDermott. Other parts were played by the cast. A Perfect Spy was a BBC Scotland production directed by Bruce Young. A Perfect Spy by John le Carré, dramatised for radio by Robert Forrest. Episode 2.
The green cabinet stands in my room now like, well, I could imagine a primitive believer approaching it with dreadful awe. Has it been sent here from heaven? Does it contain the gospel according to Rick? Where was I? Yes. Peggy Wentworth, about to break the cabinet open with a chisel, while I was there to do the job more subtly with a pair of dividers. Magnus Pym, junior, but bona fide licensed spy. Your father, she says. That brute of a man killed my husband, and I'll have the proof of it and bring the bastard down. Jack, I'm sorry, but I can't remember now which bits she told me when and where. Some failing of my professional memory. I think the first of it came out on the top deck of an otherwise empty bus. Why we got on a bus and where we were going, I have no idea. But we were definitely on a bus.
John. My darling John. He fell into the thresher and lost both legs below the knee. Insurance money? Of course. My John was a fool as well as a darling, but I'd seen to his cover. £4,000 we got. And who after me is his first visitor in the hospital? With the flowers and the chocolates and the bubbly?
My father.
Your father, the bastard Rick Pym, with his champagne and his silver tongue. He'd see us right if it killed him. There would be 12.5% plus profits year in, year out. More than enough for a decent living, and some put by for our boys' schooling. He'd study law like his own boy. First-rate boys, the pair of them. Well, that's you, Magnus. A first-rate boy like my Alistair. Upright lawyers, the both of you.
I'll never be a lawyer.
And I hope you won't be a liar either like your father is. There's me, up at 4 a.m. for the milking, and falling asleep at midnight over the accounts. And where's your daddy? Playing the saint at the bedside of that aged darling John of mine, who signed away every one of those £4,000. Signed away every penny.
Eggs and chips and beans. I'm sure that's what I bought for her at some cafe somewhere. I've no idea where. I don't know what time of night it was. But I'm sure it was eggs and chips and beans.
So, there's John, coughing out his last few breaths. And who's at his bedside again?
Rick Pym.
Daddy. He has a problem. A temporary problem.
Liquidity.
The very thing. No 12.5% available. No profits. Original capital.
All tied up.
But Daddy will see us through this. Just as soon as John signs these papers. Papers to mortgage the farm. The land and the beasts, and near as damn it his wife and son as well. Here's a saint and his lawyer to manage it all for the best. I'll tell you something else about that saintly dad of yours. He can easily fall for a lovely Irish smile on a woman.
Where on earth were we after that? The air was frosty, and it smelled of the sea, and cow dung, and petrol and fish. We were walking on cobbles. There were cranes that rose up like gallows. Peggy was still talking.
And the rest is a kind of confession. Forgive me, son of Pym, for I have sinned.
There's no need for confession, Mrs. Wentworth.
Peggy, and there is a need. The confession of a lonely woman. Fool of a husband dead in the ground, a sickly boy to look after, a bankrupt farm. And the man who possesses you anyway beckons you up first class to London.
Please, Peggy, I don't need to hear any more.
So off I go. Leave the accounts and the milk and both. Even leave the bloody dishes unwashed. And there I am, with my lovely Irish smile, being bought fine clothes in Bond Street, fancy petticoats and silks. John's in his grave, and I'm in bed with the devil.
Please, no more.
Did you know your father had been Lady Mountbatten's lover?
He never was.
Did you know they wanted him for ambassador to Paris? Did you know he's wicked enough to con his way into heaven? And now he might be an MP? Real power, Magnus. Can he win?
Can he win, Magnus? Well, when all this started, you could have had 50 to 1. Within a week, he was down to 25s. The Labour boy's a jock, red beard, looks like a mouse peeping out of a bear's backside. Tory, thank the Lord's a landed pucker. Toils a day a week in the city, rides his hounds, wife opens fates with her teeth. Your old man's 9 to 2 and shrinking. I'll wager you a tenner this minute that come polling day he'll be evens.
So, Jack, no doubt you can see what my next mission must be. Down to the cellar again, with the dividers your minions have taught me to use. And Jack, your minions have taught me well. My fingers are light and quick and agile. This is what I was born for, to be God's detective. And the lock trips like a hair-triggered trap. First drawer, Watermaster Dorothy, marital, very thin file. Bankruptcy, an entire drawer crammed full. Now, here it is. Rex versus Pym, 1940. The judges summing up, verdict, sentence, disposal of prisoner. No camera back then, Jack, so I read for an hour, following my vocation. Divine service in progress. Then it's up to my bedroom and write it all down. Operational memory in fine working order back then. Last words. Dear Peggy, I hope that the enclosed will be of use to you.
People say to me, Rick, what is liberalism? And I tell them, it's about ideals. Ours is a party of ideals. You can guess what they say to that, All very well, Rick, but you can't eat ideals. They won't buy you a nice bit of lamb chop. They won't even buy you a bag of chips. And here's my answer to that, good people of Gulworth North. Ideals are like the stars. Maybe we can't reach them, but they lead us on. They lead us to higher things.
Yes.
I have a question.
The question's after the show.
That's all this is, a show. Tell me, Mr. Ideals, have you ever been in prison?
She's an Irish Maddie. Back to the bogs with her.
No, let her ask.
Have you ever been in prison? Did you serve a sentence for embezzlement, for swindle, for fraud?
He turns away from her for a moment or two. It's not an abrupt move, no sign of shock. He turns slowly. He is nodding his head. He seems calm, rueful perhaps. But his eyes fix on mine, and there is the flick-knife gleam.
Ladies and gentlemen, my old friend Peggy Wentworth is right.
You're no friend of mine, Ricky Pym.
I'm sorry to hear you say that, Peggy, because you're wrong. But you are right about this. When I was a young man, eager eager above all to see my family right, but too eager by far. I strayed across the border of what was justified, what was lawful. Justice extracted her penalty. I paid in full measure. I'll pay for it in my conscience all my life. But consider this. Look at the young men in this hall tonight. Children, grandchildren, even my own son Magnus here on the stage with me. If one of these young people ever makes a mistake and pays the price, pays it in full, as I have, and comes to you, Dad, Mum, it's me, it's your son. Who among us is gonna slam the door in his face? Your candidate is a straight-dealing liberal, and your candidate is a repentant Christian.
Yes, well said.
And away he soared on angel's wings. Tom, your grandfather was magnificent that night. I watched and listened with a smile on my face and tears in my eyes, signs of devotion and love. And mock if you will, Jack, but I did love him, and my devotion was real. So too, of course, was my terror, because I was sure he knew I was the traitor. The bastard knew. These lanes are still slippery underfoot.
Under tire, you mean? Bentley tires?
Yes. And the lanes are...
What, they're crooked? And I'm driving too fast.
Well, it's certainly fast.
And I'm drinking. See that wooden gate up ahead? Hold on. We're going through it.
Yeah. Oh.
You all right?
We're in a field.
Are you all right?
I think so. Are you?
Get out.
Then what? Go for help?
We don't need help. Get out of the car. Climb onto the roof. Underneath the moonlight, up above the snow.
Are you not cold?
Look at the stars, shining up there like ideals to aim for. You love your old man?
Yes. You were crackerjack tonight. Best ever.
I told them the truth, and God heard it. He always does. So don't ever lie to me again. I know, Magnus. I know what you've done. I know what you haven't done. You haven't been at Oxford studying law. You've been doing, what is it? Language, literature, airy-fairy stuff.
Dad, they're great things. They could take me anywhere.
Promise me this.
Anything.
Don't smoke till you're 21. If you make it, there's £5,000 waiting for you, cash in hand.
I never did take up smoking, and I never did see that £5,000. Do I still believe he knew I'd betrayed him? Do I strongly suspect he suspected I had? And yet he said nothing. Why? Because God was listening. God always hears, and he saw God's justice in it. My passing secrets to the enemy Wentworth was years after Grimble's ghastly school and the ghastly death of Lippsie. Still at school, 16 years old, I was summoned to meet... Oh, but Tom, I can do better than that for you, surely. Because this is a boy's own adventure story. A tale of treasure and intrigue, and an astonishing femme fatale. Pym thuds the great brass door knocker against its stud. Rain is lashing in the lamp-lit London street. The door opens no more than an inch. There's an eye there. Then he's rushed, tight fingers in his armpit, into a room lit only by those same street lamps. Pym's father introduces a tall, willowy lady with a feather in her hat, Elena Weber, a baroness. We have house of marble, darling. We have mirrors in gold framing. We have culture. We lose everything, but not everything entire. Both the Nazis and the Bolsheviks have stolen most of our family's fortune, but there is a box hidden somewhere in Bern, Switzerland, and in that box is treasure. It's worth a bomb, Magnus, says Pym's father. It's Hiroshima, son. And schoolboy Pym with his gift for languages, must accompany the astonishing Baroness across his first dangerous frontier and find that treasure. Pym has been given an envelope containing many £10 notes, and the Baroness has been given many more, Father's investment and Pym's operational expenses. The woman and the boy reach Bern. At her hotel bedroom door, she kisses him on the mouth. Her mouth opens. The bedroom door closes. He never sees her again. Pym is alone in a foreign country, but at least it's Switzerland, the spiritual home of natural spies. He works as a night waiter. He sleeps in a Salvation Army hostel. He enrolls at university, lies about his age and his qualifications, and hands over the last of his £10 notes. All worth it, because now he has papers. His only fear now is that his father will come looking for his vanished Baroness, his missing money, his undercover son. I see I've arranged the items on my desk as if setting a trap for a searcher. Staple at a handle of teacup, a corner of my precious copy of Simplicissimus aligned with a pencil point. In the embassy burn box, an exact inch from the wastepaper basket. I'm sorry, Tom. Your father is weary. His tale of adventure in Bern must be to be continued.
Where are you, Magnus, my best boy? You've been my best boy for going on 35 years, since we first spoke in the porch of that English church in Bern. What did I see in you? Short back and sides, spoke the King's English but with a good smattering of foreign, decent public school, a games player, understood discipline, just the type the firm liked. And so did I. And now, according to Mary, you think I should have been ditched years ago. Too many miles in the saddle. No room now for old wartime heroes. I'm going nowhere, Magnus. Not before I've found you. The truth will out, best boy.
He's gone to ground, Jack. We can't deny that. But we've no reason so far to think his loyalty is anything other than impeccable.
This could all be a personal matter, an emotional thing.
Of course it could. His father just died. Can shake a man badly.
Why did he take the embassy burn box?
Well, if the man's in the throes of some kind of breakdown, then...
What's in the burn box?
Papers. And have you considered the possibility he took them to keep them safe?
Names, Kate. All his Joes. Everyone in Czechoslovakia, other places too. Is he keeping his Joes safe, Nigel? When do you pull the boat?
When the 5th floor waves the flag. And there's no sign yet of their doing so. They insist the most important thing is to act natural, look busy.
Total normality in all areas. And if we evacuate his agents, Jack, what's that going to tell the Americans?
We'll be meeting the Americans in a day or two. Harry Wexler's coming over.
Wexler? The right hand of God at Langley.
And Grant Leder is coming in from Vienna.
Dear God, Magnus is devious, John. It's a meeting about Magnus.
They know nothing, of course, about his latest puzzling adventure. Be sure we keep it that way.
Jack, wait.
Total insanity in all areas. Normality as usual.
I have things to tell you.
Things? About Magnus? But Nigel's not to know.
As I said, personal. Emotional.
Right. We can walk in the park.
No. We go to your flat. The safe house. We make love, and then I give you secrets. And be sure you love me properly. I'll make it worth your while.
What did I see when I first shook your hand, Jack? A straight-backed British warrior, rock jaw and blue eyes. The 10 years between us, in terms of war and peace, were a generation. You wore your airborne tie, silver-winged horse and crowned Britannias on a maroon field. You said you were assistant passport officer at the embassy, but I knew even then that's not all you were. That's not what you really were. You'd parachuted behind enemy lines. You had killed our enemies. I had betrayed a friend by carving his initials in a lavatory. But we were both spies, and we're both growing old. You first.
So, is that proper enough for you?
Satisfactory. What's in the burn box?
You're the one with secrets to tell.
Nigel and you. Have a look about you when that box is mentioned. Not in front of the children, look.
Names, Kate. Names and code names. That's serious stuff. That could get a lot of children burned. Now, come on.
Many years ago, I did a favour for Magnus.
How many years ago?
Many. We were having an affair at the time. Oh, did you know that?
News to me, but hardly a surprise.
Actually, that's the wrong word. Magnus doesn't have affairs. He has different lives.
What was the favour?
An entry in his personnel file. He wanted it removed. It was from way back, his National Service days. An army report on some Joe he'd been running. Czechoslovakian. He said if certain people picked through the file, he'd never make it to the 5th floor.
Who was the Joe?
Oh, no, he wasn't the problem. There was a girl involved with the operation and then with Magnus. Or the other way round. Well, he'd been well out of line with her and wanted anything about her out of his record.
Name?
Sabina. She was Czech too.
Sabina. Very pretty. By the way, what about Poppy? You ever hear of a woman called Poppy?
No.
What did you do about the file?
I stole it.
Give it to Magnus?
No. No, I kept it. I thought I'd put it back someday, but I never did. I told him I still had it when he phoned me on Monday night.
I didn't know you smoked, Kate.
I don't.
Drinking well, too.
He was in a call box. I counted 4 50-pence pieces. He was on for about 20 minutes, so middle distance.
What did he have to say for himself?
Well, a lot of it I couldn't make out. He was crying. He needed to hear my voice. He was sorry for everything. He wasn't a bad man. And I could tell anyone I liked about the file because he was free now and it didn't matter anymore. I asked him where he was. He said, "I've run out of change." Last words. Out of change.
Where are you going?
Bathroom.
Keep your fingers away from my razor blades.
Oh, for God's sake, Jack, not that again.
He's close, and I'm going to find him.
Did somebody do that to you once?
Find me?
No. Kill herself. Or himself.
Let's just say once would be too often. I wonder how many other women we've shared, Magnus. There was Mary, of course. But I was tired of her anyway, and she was just the right wife for you. Top-notch English rose, from just the right family. All church and army and spy establishment. She would have made excellent cover for a double. Is that all she really was? Well, whatever other kind of shit you are, you should be proud of your son. I'm proud to be his godfather.
Where are we going, Uncle Jack? It's like wilderness up here.
Sugarloaf Hill.
You made that up.
I did no such thing. And to prove it, we're here. Now, you see that pylon up there? If we shoot that down, we let the bloody Russians in. So, what do? We pitch the launcher next to the pylon and shoot away from it.
Clay pigeons.
The very thing. All the gears in the boot, including your own 20-bore.
But how do we get in? Look at the gate, the wire. Ministry of Defence, entry forbidden.
We march straight up there and we yell, "Open Sesame!" Or we could use these keys.
Oh, amazing, Uncle Jack.
Amazing yourself. Let's go. Damn, another miss.
Still 11-9 to you.
All right. One more from you.
Let.
11-10 to me. But let me tell you, boy, you're getting a lot harder to beat.
I know I am.
But you're still lost. So you pick up the cartridges. Fancy a bit of report writing while you're at it?
All right.
Lesbos.
What about it?
No questions. Response.
Holiday in the summer, me and Dad and Mum.
Notable event? Response, boy.
Dad got drunk, stayed out all night. Just one night.
Not that. Another response. Cricket match.
Oh, right. The old man. He held onto Dad's arm and they walked around.
Height?
6 foot. A bit under, maybe.
Colour of hair?
Hard to be sure. He wore a straw hat.
Colour of beard, then?
Well, no beard. Shaggy moustache. Grey.
Build?
Thin, snoopy, and a limp.
Old man, you say? Age?
Oh, ancient.
What's that mean? Am I ancient?
He was a lot older than you. Or maybe not.
Clarify.
Well, the limp, the stoop. He was holding on to Dad, and he was thin. And his face was,
Describe?
Well, really thin. Thinner than the rest of him. And he looked...
He looked how?
Like he'd been through a lot. Maybe ill. In pain, or an accident, or suffered. So he might not have been all that ancient, really.
Not a bad report. Now, Digby Hotel, peppered steak. Medium rare for me, well done as leather for you, and all the trimmings for the pair of us.
Including chips?
Of course, including bloody chips. Let's go.
So, Dad's all right, is he?
Of course he is.
Well, he kept talking about freedom. Nobody could give it to us. We've got to grab it for ourselves.
Truth in that.
And he seemed to be saying that if I was unhappy, I should run away. And he said the same things in his letter. On and on about freedom. It was weird, actually.
This steak is as good as ever.
Mine's super.
Yes, they do a good boot sole here. What letter was that? If he came to see you.
He did. 2 days later, the letter came. I thought he was going back to Vienna, Monday latest. But the letter was posted on Tuesday.
Could have been Monday, after final post.
Means he was still here Monday night. Postmarked Reading.
I know what you did, Magnus. At Heathrow, you put up a smokescreen about a flight to Edinburgh. Then you hopped on a coach to Reading.
You are police?
Detective. Marlowe. Yeah. So, fair hair, maybe a wee bit too long, polite spoken, carrying a large black briefcase. He asked you for change. How much?
I can offer nothing on the briefcase. I saw him only from the west up. He was wearing a black tie.
That's the man.
I gave him £5 in 50 pences. That was his request, and as I had an abundance of them, I obliged. He gave me a £10 note. The price of his second-class single to London was £4.30. I gave him his ticket, 10.50s, and the balance in smaller denominations. Is my recollection of sufficient exactitude?
It is superb. May I tell you something about that well-spoken man?
Nothing too bloody, please.
If that man spoke to you in your accent, you wouldn't know if it was him or you speaking.
Ah, a master of disguise.
Well, Magnus, you didn't go to London because that's where you bought a ticket to. You phoned Kate from Reading. But she counted 4 50-pence pieces. You had at least 10. So who else did you phone? You posted your letter to Tom from Reading. And then, where? Am I going to read in the paper soon that a senior officer of the British Secret Service has popped up all smiles in Moscow? I've read that one before.
Tom, I know I promised you more of your teenage father's adventures in Bern, but you may be disappointed by the next episode. There is no skullduggery or violence. It is, in fact, an episode of calm and domesticity. It begins with young Pym sitting in the third-class railway buffet, slowly sipping his one glass of beer and looking like a forlorn and undiscovered poetic genius. A middle-aged man with a doughy face and unruly grey hair, wearing a buttoned-up raincoat and with a yellow chow dog on a lead, approaches Pym's table and bows. "We are not disturbing you? The chair is available?" This is Herr Ollinger. Herr Ollinger manages some kind of factory, and he's married to an angel and has 3 angelic daughters. Within an hour, he is offering Pym a room in his home for as long as Pym wishes to do him the honour. Frau Ollinger is indeed an angel. Through her kitchen troops an ever-changing and seemingly endless army of migrants and misfits and orphans and fugitives. Tom, for once your father's life is almost complete. He has a family, he is fed and watered, he has a bed. The only thing missing is a friend.
It is forbidden for foreigners to hang their washing in Swiss basements.
I'm sure that can't be true.
How can you be sure when it is forbidden in Switzerland even to be foreign? To be foreign and poor is a hanging offence. You are the English inmate here.
My name is Pym.
Lord Pym?
Magnus Pym.
But of aristocratic stock.
Well, not really. Nothing very special.
I will call you Sir Magnus. You may call me Axel.
Are you German?
I am from a town that no longer exists. Once it was Austrian, and then it was German, and then it was Czechoslovakian. Since it no longer exists, it is none of these things. And since it no longer exists, I can never go home. Where is home for you?
England? Hard to say, really. My family moved around so much.
Name a favourite place.
Ooh. Farley Abbot?
No.
Actually, I was only there for one day, but it was perfect. The day, I mean. I was there with my father.
Ah.
We rode bicycles on the beach and played cricket. Oh, sorry, you really don't.
No, I do want. This father of yours, Admiral Pym, is he still at sea, or was it the father who went missing in Egypt after El Alamein? While you were afraid but defiant in the London Blitz. But then, you were in Coventry too, no? You saw the cathedral go up. You have been telling your war stories to Frau Ollinger, and also to one of her daughters. They have not been consistent, Sir Magnus. That is my first lesson to you. You must be consistent in your lies.
Not really lies.
Embellishment. I understand. Maybe that is disquieting, eh? My understanding you. The stories you told were a kind of giving. You told lies out of the goodness of your heart.
My first lesson. Are you a teacher?
Maybe we educate each other. Herr Ollinger found me in his factory, sleeping on sacks in his storeroom. I was foreign and had no papers, and I was smelly. But he brought me to his home. What does that teach you?
Herr Ollinger is a good man.
Yes, he is. But the main lesson is, I am foreign and I have no papers. So if you accept my invitation to knock on my door and share a drink and a talk with me, what danger might you be in?
I accept your invitation.
No surprise. I know how fascinating I am. Good. We will talk nonsense and save the world a little.
What did I start you off with, Magnus, all those years ago? We knew your German was coming along, so we gave you some translation work. Technical stuff. From funny little firms who were making things we didn't much like. Nasty things.
It was junk, and I half knew it at the time. You didn't want my translations, Jack. You wanted me.
Then we learned about the Cosmo.
The Cosmo was a sort of political debating club at the university. I became a member to spy on girls.
We'd heard some of the Cosmo mob were a tad outspoken. A few names would help. No high-minded scruples about the sanctity of academia? And your answer was perfection.
Not if it was for my country.
So how might you go about getting us the names? Your response was so fast, it almost took my breath away.
I could suggest we start a Cosmo newsletter. I'd need a list of members for that.
And I thought this young bastard is good. This one could be my best boy.
I tell you, Jack, we reap what we sow, even if the harvest is 30-odd years in the growing.
What is this?
Bottle of whiskey.
I'm a vodka man. I drink only vodka.
Ah, I have no vodka.
Then I will drink your whiskey. So, how can you afford Scotch whiskey? A student? A part-time waiter?
I do a little work for the embassy as well. That stuff's dirt cheap for them, duty-free.
British Embassy. You work for the British doing what?
Translation, research, clerical stuff, really. I met one of their chaps at the English church. He seems to have taken a shine to me. So, this is the famous typewriter. Ancient by the look of it, but it's got stamina. I hear it tapping well into the night.
Yeah.
Thanks. Cheers.
You even cough like an English schoolboy. Wait till I have a relapse, then you will hear adult European coughing.
Speaking of schoolboys, you said we're to educate each other.
Yes. You will bring books for me. I, without papers, cannot go to the library. Erasmus, Descartes, Hume, Kant, Hegel, Nietzsche. And I suppose we should also have a glance at Marx and Engels. Then the painters, abstractionists, decadents, Jews, anyone forbidden. Just ask the librarian for names the Nazis didn't like.
What is it you're writing?
A monumental work of philosophy. Mystery and poetics. It'll take years.
And me?
What about you?
These are the books you want. And my education?
I am your education. I will provide much of the material for the great autobiographical novel I have no doubt you will write. That, too, will take years.
Her name was Lippsie. I think she may have been the best person I ever knew. When she died, it was like the whole world went dark.
Adolescent dribble piss. You want the world gone dark, try the Russian front. I got a medal for that. We called it the Order of the Frozen Meat. Normandy. Saw your father, the Admiral, coming at me, shot me in spine and hip. Try having a mother ill with jaundice. And try wheeling her all the way to Dresden. That dog of the Ollingers, it scratches at my door.
Because it's fascinated by you. Here. Water.
Oh, the radiator, either freezing or boiling.
A little more?
No. Magnus, dribbling, canting nightingale. Smell of blackboard, dust and masturbation. Me, smell of prison and hospital, and Russian prison and American prison and hospital and German prison, and in every damned one they beat you up, prison and hospital. For a bit more torture they shot on one of your legs. Darkness, you don't even have a limp.
I've got another bottle of whiskey. I think you'll be well enough for it soon.
I fought against the British, Magnus. Maybe I was the one who killed your father.
No, you didn't. You survived the war.
I didn't fight for the Nazis. I fought for my homeland. Then I just fought to stay alive.
I understand that.
No, I don't have one. A homeland. Do you, Sir Magnus?
Maybe.
A little bit of England. Far away something?
Farley Abbott.
the book, which is anyway trash. It is Goethe's birthday, and we must go out into the air.
You're well enough?
You're not ill if you can stand up. You will have to adjust your speed and act as my second walking stick.
I accept your invitation.
Springtime and birdsong. A Swiss park in the spring. Neutral heaven. And you have the arm of a brave English aristocrat. I love all English aristocrats. But you, Sir Magnus, you I love the best.
You're definitely ready for that second bottle of whiskey. Should we sit down?
And I have a present for you.
Ah.
Not with me. I left it in my room in case I was arrested out here in the tweeting paradise. You'll find it under my pillow if you have to go back alone.
That will not happen.
You will not be astonished to hear that it's a book. A 17th century German novel by a man named Grimmelshausen.
Super name.
His book teaches us that the world is a mad place and is getting madder every day. You looked after me when I was ill. Even when I was abusing you. I don't remember abusing you, but I'm sure I must have. And you stayed with me. No doubt a lot of what I said was nonsense, but this is true. Russians, Germans, Americans, they would all like to get their hands on me, partly because sometimes I have no papers, and sometimes I have the wrong papers, but mainly because I have escaped from all their prisons.
And walk out of their hospitals. You said something about pushing your mother all the way to Dresden in a wheelchair.
Who could afford a wheelchair? It was a handcart. You stayed with me. Why did you do that?
It was the thing to do.
Feeble answer, you stayed not out of duty or because I'm fascinating. It's because, Sir Magnus, on that first day in the basement, we began a friendship.
Yes.
We are friends, Sir Magnus.
Yes.
Yes. But there is a danger here. You let me use you as a walking stick. The danger is I may use you like this for the rest of our lives.
This is excellent work, Magnus. Damn good job.
Thank you, Mr. Brotherhood.
Jack. From now on, it's Jack. Names, addresses, even a few deft descriptions.
Yes, I wasn't sure if they'd be useful.
They'll enrich the file, manner.
This coffee's super, Jack.
Not what you're used to, eh? One thing. A.H. Mean anything?
No. Maybe A.H. Schmidt or something?
All we have is A.H. And we thought we might find him among the Cosmo crowd, but he's not here. We think he's connected with somebody called Ollinger.
Ollinger? I live with Ollingers.
Good God.
Hey. You don't mean Axel, do you?
So I told you about Axel, Jack, in tones of respect and bemusement and hilarity. Did he detect the love there, too? He was picked up 2 weeks later, in the early hours before the cock had a chance to crow. At first I wondered why he'd done it. Axel's only crimes were his illegal presence, his poverty, and his freedom of thought. That freedom, Jack, is what we're here to protect, at least in the eyes of some. But of course I understand now. You were still fairly junior. You had your way to make. A note to the Swiss, another to the Americans, no doubt. Your brownie points would climb. Within a month, I was on a train out of Bern for France, and from there to England. And somewhere close to Paris, I discovered tears on my cheeks and vowed never to be a spy again. Because, you see, Axel was the only friend I might ever have been able to tell everything to, and tell it gladly. Even now I might be able to tell him about arriving at the sad flat where my father had died, and the two ancient lovelies. What were their names? Lily, Rose. They led me not into a bedroom to view the deceased, but into a bathroom. Axel may have smiled, been on the point of laughing, right up to the discovery of my father's body, rigid as ice, laid out in the bath. But at the final detail, Axel would not have laughed. He would have said, "Ah, Sir Magnus, so killing him wasn't enough."
All misfortune done away with, thing of the past. Providence turned up crackerjack.
You have a library.
And a billiard room. Like the house, then?
It's amazing.
It's yours, son. All in your name. You're 20, you're 50, you've got a home. Bought the place from the Duke of Devonshire.
Crackerjack's the word.
That Councillor's here again, Governor. Thackeray?
What's he want?
Mouth like a clam, but he's got that brown leather bag with him.
All right. I'll see you later, son.
Yes.
Dinner tonight's a feast, and then we're on the town.
Welcome home, Titch. Park Lane, eh?
It's amazing. You mentioned all these companies. Richard Pym Endeavour, Pym Mutual Property Trust, half a dozen more.
He's a tycoon. And Mr. Entertainment. Did he tell you he's got a scheme to have an entire Irish village give us their air? The wig market will boom with this new health service. Change days, Titch. Your dad's even a taxpayer now. So you get up to Oxford and study the law like all our lives depend on it. Because they do.
Magnus Richard Pym, at Oxford reading languages and literature. Dark blue blazer, cavalry twill trousers, brown shoes. Virgin. College secretary of various clubs and societies, rugger, cricket and rowing. Passing terms, passing seasons, virginity retained. Stories told to various girls about dangerous clandestine adventures in Bern, no loss of virginity. Passing terms, passing seasons. Letter received from Jack Brotherhood, wishing Pym well with his studies and expressing interest in his future. A visit from an intermediary promised. A sheath knife bought, practice sessions throwing it at trees. Meeting with intermediary, Michael, no surname known. Provides basic and simplistic advice on espionage techniques, including use of dividers to spring locks. Attendance at several socialist clubs and debating societies. Names and opinions and descriptions of members delivered to Michael. Terms passing, seasons passing. Richard Thomas Pym, father of subject. Liberal candidate in Gulworth North. Son summoned to assist campaign. Votes gained 6,404. Poor third, due in part to son's betrayal of father's secrets. Son's suspicion of father's suspicion. National Service call-up papers seen as beckoning sanctuary. Virginity intact.
Who else did you phone on Monday night, Magnus? I wish you'd phone me now. I have news for you. Rather a lot of your agents have gone silent. In Prague, in Gdansk, in Warsaw, all unobtainable. Are they running? Hiding? Were they always your Joes and never really ours? When did all this start, best boy? Was it bad company in Bern? Was it when we had you mixed with the lefties at Oxford, or when we sent you to Vienna? Sabina, the name you wanted removed from your record, was she the start? So who the hell is Sabina?
Magnus Richard Pym, national serviceman and virgin. Report continues. 2 months basic training, polishing boots and belt brasses and cap badges, and being shouted at and sleeping soundly. Months passing, seasons passing, left, right, left, writing love letters on behalf of lonely, young, illiterate men. Majority attained, commission received, virginity retained. Second Lieutenant Pym, transfer at the recommendation of certain men to a certain establishment for certain specialist training. Tramping and crawling and pointing guns and sleeping rough, mapless in the Scottish Highlands. Tracking strangers through the streets of Manchester while avoiding being tracked. Interview with commanding officer at the intelligence depot. Result? Transfer, in a continuing state of virginity, to Vienna, a divided city. British, American, Russian. Shown photographs of 2 men to be arrested on sight, Burgess and McLean. And then, then so long ago, I met and was dumbfounded and enthralled and delighted by Sabina.
All these camps, day after day after day. Why do we go to all these camps?
To visit the refugees?
Yes, to question. You come from Hungary and from Romania and sometimes Russia. What army did you see on the way here? What vehicle are they in? What uniform are they in? You are desperate and homeless and maybe poor, but are you a spy? Would you like instead to spy for us? Have we ever found a spy? Magnus, have we made a spy?
Not yet, Sabina. These roads are...
bendy and bumpy, is it? And I drive too fast? How did you learn to play this stupid game?
Well, long story. Born to it, maybe. Some English families are.
Yes. I watch you ask and I see you listen. I think you know about lies. Why do you let me translate into German? You speak German.
How do you know that?
People tell me things. Maybe you enjoy the words in my voice. But you have very little check and no sobriety.
As you do, extremely useful.
Saturdays I could give you lessons.
Really? Well, that would be most useful.
You are homosexual?
Good Lord, no. What made you ask that?
You are English. With Englishmen it's uncertain.
Well, I am certain.
Then maybe after the lesson we make love.
It didn't happen, Jack. There were no language lessons, because when she opened her door to me the following Saturday, she was naked. Some time later, to use the discreet form, I said to her, I didn't know. What I meant was that for all my longing, I'd never known what I was longing for. I meant that I was made whole, and I'd joined the men at last. A week later, but can this be true? I'm sure of what she'd told me, every word. But were those words really spoken in a moonlit orchard where an intelligence officer and his lover lay naked on a black watch tartan shawl? Underneath the apples, moonshine in our eyes.
What I tell you, Magnus, I tell no one else this side of frontier. In Prague I have a brother. His name is Jan.
I look forward to meeting all your family. Oh, your breasts in moonlight. Oh.
Jan will trust you because of me and because of what I've told him about you. All good.
I'm flattered. I am in heaven.
My brother has a friend who wishes to come out. The friend is brilliant. Top access. He can bring you many secrets.
All I care about are your secrets.
Listen, Magnus. The British will not allow me, interpreter, working with your spies, to have contact with close family in a communist country. So, you must invent a story for your people about how you get this information.
Don't worry. As you said, my darling, I know about lies.
Weiss's Ross. Never heard of it.
It's a pub, sir. A bit shabby, but lots of Czech emigres drink there.
As do you.
I look in fairly often. One never knows.
One never does. And you've picked up on something?
Well, yes, but it's a bit, well, a wee bit more dramatic than picking up.
Do tell.
I'd been there only a few minutes last night when the barman said there was a phone call for me. A man's voice, middle-aged, accented German, polite. He gave me directions which he claims will lead us to some good stuff.
Not another Hungarian frontier guard, I hope. We've rather had our fill of them.
No, sir. Czech. Attached to HQ Southern Command, based outside Prague.
Czech? Well, no. Promising. Most of our Czech info comes from the Americans, therefore corrupt. And where will these directions take you?
To a barn, sir, near the crossroads to Kleinbrandorf.
A barn?
Yes, sir. I'm to find a white painted stone not far from the crossroads, and the barn should be nearby, beside a lake. I'm to go in plain clothes, no uniform.
Hello?
Hello indeed. Come in. Close the door. Let us have some light. There. Now come towards me, Sir Magnus. Slowly, of course.
Axel?
I know what you're thinking. Why a table and 2 chairs in the barn? Just like one of your reception rooms where you interrogate refugees.
Interview, not... Good God. Axel!
I'm so glad you accepted my invitation.
After what? Nearly 5 years?
You no doubt have a .38 British service revolver about your person. This one is Russian-made, so while I attempt to hold mine steady, you take your gun out. Slowly, of course. Let's avoid accidents or heroics. Neither of us is a member of the shooting classes. Good. Now, lay it down on the table.
I've never fired a gun in anger in my life, Jack. I know you have. And now, with the embassy burn box pressing against my leg like a faithful or a frightened dog, I remember you had to shoot your Labrador bitch, buried her, sat by a grave and drank a half bottle of scotch. All I've ever shot at is training targets and clay pigeons. When those 2 old lovelies, all 20 fingers bony and tight on my arms, led me through to view my dead father, I did feel a chill in my spine and a stirring in my guts as if I were being led to face a firing squad. But instead they took me into a bathroom. Funerals, Magnus, love, they cost money. And there ain't a penny in the house, darling. See, he was having his liquidity again. Any idea the cost of a coffin? He was lying in the bath, feet marbled and crossed, hands cupped on his white belly. He was half submerged in glistening ovals and cubes and triangles and mush, all glistening. Ice. He was wearing a shroud of ice.
In A Perfect Spy by John le Carré, dramatised for radio by Robert Forrest, Magnus was played by Julian Rhind-Tutt, Jack by Bill Paterson, Axel Anton Lesser, Rick Michael Maloney, Peggy Wentworth, Aoife McMahon, Sid Lemon, Ewan Bailey, Kate, Tracy Wiles, Tom, Adam Thomas Wright, Sabina, Sanchia McCormack, and Nigel by Gerard McDermott. Other parts were played by the cast. A Perfect Spy was a BBC Scotland production directed by Bruce Young. A Perfect Spy by John le Carré, dramatised for radio by Robert Forrest. Episode 3.
Good, Sir Magnus. Now you are unarmed, and I have a Russian-made gun aimed at the belly of a British imperialist soldier and spy. Let me enjoy this situation for just a little while.
Am I under arrest? Or are you going to kill me?
Just a second or two more. All right, enough. See, I place my gun on the table beside yours. Now, we push both weapons aside, and we replace them with 1 bottle of vodka, 2 glasses, sausage, gherkins, and black bread. Please, be seated. Let us talk.
Do we talk nonsense and save the world a little?
Sir Magnus, you remember?
Of course. You're unforgettable. What the hell are you doing here?
Sit, drink, eat, talk.
So what did we talk about all those years ago, in a barn near the border between Austria and Czechoslovakia? Axel told me something of what happened to him after being arrested in Bern. The Swiss marched him into Germany. German police dealt him a ritual beating. On receipt of him from the Germans, the Americans beat him again. Among the false papers he'd once carried were those of a Nazi war criminal. But war crimes were becoming old hat, so they threw him onto a train into Czechoslovakia, where he was beaten for having been a German soldier during the war, and then beaten again for having been an American prisoner after the war.
But time passes. It does that, even when your bones are so pummeled they don't heal anymore. You learn how to use the party to advance yourself. You learn which asses to kick and which to kiss. You rise. You achieve position. You gain access.
You did all that?
Yes, I have kicked and kissed and denounced. But you, Sir Magnus, those years ago in Bern, what happened to you?
I told him how agonized everyone had been when he disappeared. I told him I'd gone to the police, waving my British passport, until two men in raincoats told me to disappear fast or I'd disappear. I told him I'd gone to the British Embassy. A friend there was sympathetic, but nothing they could do. Frau Ollinger was convinced there'd been an informant. She went through many suspects, neighbours, shopkeepers, one of the other poor beggars who'd passed through her friendly house. Who did Axel think it might have been?
A fish gets a hook in its throat, a traitor gets a bullet in the head. An illegal, which I was, gets marched across the border. These are things that happen. But here's another thing that happens. I was ill and you nursed me. I yelled at you and cursed you. You held my head when I threw up. Yes, generous hearts, they happen too. And you, Sir Magnus, I never knew a better heart.
And here's another thing. After you disappeared.
What?
I took your books back to the library.
Excellent. Have another drink. Speaking of books, the Simplicissimus I gave you, have you sold it?
Of course not. It's precious to me.
And you to me, my child.
Do you want it back?
Of course not. I have my own. Let's hold on to both copies.
So, here we both are.
With half a bottle still to drink.
Here we are. I'm Lieutenant Pym. But who are you? I'm here to meet a defector. Are you coming across to us?
My country is not perfect, but I've crossed my last frontier.
What then?
What do they teach you in so-called British intelligence? You've never heard of a defector in place? Glance at that.
Is this?
Genuine? Yes. A bit out of date, but useful to have.
It's the Soviet order of battle in Czechoslovakia.
I could go on defecting in place for years. I could make you famous, Sir Magnus.
Well, perhaps not famous in our secret little world. But a man with a highly regarded source is highly regarded himself. By the time I turned up with a breakdown of the total Soviet air strength in Czechoslovakia as of November 1951, I was a cult of one, and to know me was to be an insider. London on the scrambler, they're sending it to the top. Every female in the know, any age, they all gave me the smile and the nod. That man Pym, a captain was heard to say. National serviceman, matters not a jot, give him a third pip, my view. Then after about a year of this secret fame, Axel was limping around the barn like a ghost of the ghost he was.
It is a purge. They are arresting people all over, arresting my friends, and they're pointing at me, questioning me. So I had to tell them about us.
Us?
I had to.
You told them about me?
Not in detail, not your name, but I had to say, yes, of course I go across the border. I'm a spy, it's what I do. I say to them, I've hooked a big British fish. I'm reeling him in.
I'm not a big fish, Axel.
You have to become one. They're demanding proof.
What kind of proof?
Secrets, of course. Product, intelligence. It has to be real. It has to be good. If you don't...
Yes, you'll be pummeled again.
Pummeled? They'll have the balls off me, and then it'll be a bullet in the head.
I'm in my major's office. His desk is an old tin affair. in the back of which are 4 screws, and my Swiss Army knife makes short work of them. Third drawer down on the left-hand side, beneath a lavishly illustrated brown fish of the world and a classified telephone directory, I find the Order of Battle of Military Intelligence in Vienna. I use my army-issue Agfa camera, with a 1-foot measuring chain fastened to the lens front. I work quickly and smoothly, without doubt or fear. This is what I was born for. This is a divinely ordained mission. In the beginning was the spy.
Sir Magnus, we are founding our own country with a population of 2. But please, promise me you will never bring me anything this good again. If you do, they will make me a general, and we shall not be able to meet any more.
So why did I do it, Jack? That first raid on the Major's desk, of course, we might say was to save Axel's life. But again, and again and again, certainly I was not a partisan for Czechoslovakia, for the Soviets, or for communism. And remember, over the years I've done as much for you and for the firm as I did for Axel. I've served both my masters well. I can imagine your sneer if I said I did what I did to be a champion of the common ground. But consider this touching little scene. A year before I gave Axel my first British secrets. The evening I first found him in the barn, with his Russian gun and Russian vodka. When we left the barn and stepped into the late summer dusk.
The fox, Sir Magnus, is wishing us well. Look. Look here, harvest poppies. One for you, Sir Magnus, and one for me. There is only one of me and only one of you.
And there will never be another of either.
Now, we embrace. I've changed my mind.
About what?
The poppies, you keep both of them. Be the keeper of our friendship.
Axel. Why? I don't mean it.
I know what you mean. I always do. Why? Maybe I hate that my country is run by Russian thugs. Or maybe to be a champion of the middle ground.
How long have I been the keeper of the poppies? How long has it taken me to get here with my father's filing cabinet and the embassy burn box? That meeting in the barn was, what, early 50s? Good God. It's taken me 3 decades to reach this room.
Where are you, Magnus? I cannot imagine where you might be. I am your wife, and I can conjure up no surroundings in which you're visible, recognizable. Visiting Tom at his school. Magnus, I can't even imagine you with our son. And here, in our home in Vienna, that door there through which you've walked so many hundreds of times, even that I cannot imagine. But Jack is after you, Magnus. If anyone can find you, it's Jack Brotherhood.
When did you last hear from him?
No sugar, Jack. I remember.
Belinda, he's in trouble.
Biscuits? This biscuit drum was a wedding present. Can you believe that, Jack? All those years and I still use it.
Did he phone you on Monday night from a call box?
His father came to our wedding. He wasn't invited, but he turned up. Like a cross between the Lord Mayor and a gangster. He led us outside, and there was our Richard Pym wedding gift. A brand new Jaguar, white ribbons tied to the bonnet. Then back inside, and Ricky Pym was the life and soul. He made a lovely speech, and he and Magnus sang underneath the arches. I never saw him again. I never saw the Jaguar again either.
His father's dead. Heart attack. A week ago.
I know. Magnus said sometimes there was a gleam in his father's eye, like a flick knife. Do you still get flick knives?
You know the father's dead because Magnus phoned you on Monday night.
Why would he? I'm the first wife from the dim and distant, and we'd no children.
You ever hear of a Sabina?
A film star?
What about Poppy?
No. And do you think I'd care about his women? I haven't even spoken to him since Mary became wife number 2.
I think you have, Belinda. Monday night.
The biscuits are good, Jack. From a French place in Hampstead. He was drunk. Or maybe not. He said he loved me for trying so hard. To make him happy, I suppose, happy with me. But that was impossible. I couldn't keep up with him, all those changes of his. He'd come home as one person, I'd try to match him, and next morning he'd be someone else. The strangest thing, he said Monday night, he said he wished we'd had a baby, a girl. I'd have been a wonderful mother to a daughter. If he'd been here, I'd have slapped him. Then it was thank you, Belinda, forgive the bad bits, and he was gone.
Anyone else you can think he might phone?
The Samaritans? The Russian embassy? Or you could try Seth. Sir Kenneth Sefton Boyd? Old school friend, 20 years an MP, high Tory, degenerate.
And you think Magnus might have turned to this knighted degenerate?
I think Magnus considered Seth his equal in some odd way.
So he might have gone to him to hide out.
If the situation was bad enough. Jack, if Magnus is hiding out, if he's turned into someone you don't know and don't trust, you've only yourself to blame. He'd have been all right if he'd never met people like you.
You sure you won't have a drop of this brandy, Inspector? I could offer you something stronger, but you might feel obliged to arrest me.
Monday night, Sir Kenneth. A phone call from Magnus.
Pissed out of his skull. Went on and on about some chap called Brotherhood. Scottish, ferreting after him. Is that you, by any chance? Inspector Marlowe? Real name? Alternative name? Thought so. Anyway, there's you, the jock, and there's the other who's foreign. The jock's running Magnus, Magnus is running the other. Can that be right? Couldn't follow it all. So pissed he was weeping. I told him to come here, get dried out and rested, and then he started on about his ghastly old man.
Sir Kenneth, the foreigner.
Told you all he told me. Oh, no, hold on. He was a cripple, that was Magnus's fault. Then he's confessing a more grievous fault. He was the little bugger who carved my initials in the staff laboratory at school. There's no need, always knew it was him.
Monday night, Sir Kenneth, you invited him here.
When I could get a word in, on and on about that damned father of his. Seemed he'd come well down in the world. Died in some beastly little basement flat. No money for a funeral, a coffin. Had him laid out in the bath, covered in ice. But that wasn't the worst. There was worse to tell me. Not sure if he could even say it out loud. And he didn't. He hung up on me.
You asked him to come here. Did he? Is he here now? Maybe I should take a look around.
Got a warrant? No. Well, get one, and I might let you have a wander, but all you'll find is a rather tough young man in my bed. You start to wander without the warrant, the tough young man will come at my call.
Jack has left 2 babysitters with me, Magnus.
I'll see your 2 and raise you 3.
You're a bold one.
Georgie and Fergus. They're playing cards for matches.
Show me what you've got. Damn.
I am boldly cleaning you out.
When I was their age in Berlin, I was conning room keys out of hotel maids. I was returning stolen files to dangerous desks.
You all right there, Mary?
I was sobering up raving agents in disgusting safe houses.
Mary?
I'm fine.
Good book.
Nice binding. Do that yourself? No.
Sure you don't want us to deal you in?
No, thanks.
You knew I was good, Magnus. So did Jack. Valued my coolness and my sharp eye. And if I could get away from these children, I might have as much of a chance of finding you as Jack does.
Oh, this is awful.
And you're an awful bluffer.
I have the coolness and the eye. I have the skill and the know-how to find you. But I am being babysat to death. Mummified.
My true official work for the firm for you, Jack, began, I suppose, in the late 50s, with several bizarre interviews in Oxford and London. Will you adore your country, right or wrong, so help you God and the Tory party? I would, of course. All right with In Peril of Life, or Steer Clear at All Costs? Love a taste of danger, actually. We have bits and bobs in Kenya and the Sudan. How do you feel about abroad? Travel I consider super, actually. Don't keep saying actually. Ah, but, you speak Czech. Not my strongest suit, sir. Never mind, we'll have you brush up and send you in. Sell some of the red ruffians useful but harmless items, and spy on all the rest. Now, tell us a bit about your somewhat dubious father. But as I'm sure you'll understand, Jack, Rick was no liability. A healthy streak of criminality and a young spy's background never did him any harm. So a week before I left for Prague, I took the dubious father out to dinner.
You know, son, I was just yesterday thinking about that day we had in... where was it? I took you out of school and rode you down to... by the sea. It's a quiet little place. We ate fish and chips and we played football on the sand and rode our bikes there too.
I remember.
I should hope so. You said that day was crackerjack. Best day ever. You even said perfect. You used that very word. Perfect day.
Hmm.
And you know what else we did? That day we talked about the future. My future and yours. Our future. And here it is. And it's far from perfect, is it? A travelling salesman, that's the best my boy can do.
It's a start.
Not much of one, selling electric razors to foreign commies. I mean, Czechoslovakia, it's all beetroot and prefab.
Not razors, father. Alternators, oscillators, and modern stuff.
Listen to me, son. You might be paying for this meal like a real grown-up, but I paid for your education.
Yes, that's uncomfortable,
Best
father.
school going.
Yeah.
You
My
should have
arm.
stuck to the law, be the highest in the land.
It hurts.
Or are you mixed up in some racket over there in commie land? What are you up to? Tell me.
Go! Go!
Well.
It was Farley Abbott. And we didn't play football, it was cricket. I know what that means, that tapping on your glass. It means somebody fill this up for me. It reminds me how you used to unlace your shoes and then sit back and wait for someone to fetch your slippers for you.
Well, indeed. You really do think you're all grown up?
I am.
Grown up and talking back. Think you can best your old man, boy? Can't be done. Even killing me isn't enough.
No, he didn't say that. Not about killing. He couldn't have. That was much later. No, it wasn't. He never said it at all, any time. He looked it. It was in his eyes. Why is this room so cold? The window might ice up. Why is outside as quiet as emptiness?
The agency position overall on this is that we have the previously known accumulation of indicators.
Blips on your computers, examined last year, discounted as very likely no more than coincidence.
Indicators from a wide range of sources.
And some entirely new data.
A review of first indicators, coded transmissions from the Czech embassy in Washington over a period of 3 years show periodic discontinuation. These periods of discontinuation matched periods of absence from Washington of Magnus Pym.
And when Magnus returned, the transmission started up again? What, saying welcome home?
Or pointing a finger, false incrimination.
The Czechs have tried that before, in Berlin, here in London.
The transmissions have been subjected to new analytic methods, searching for evidence of a non-random text that would serve as the key base for transposition. A pattern has emerged, a logical linguistic progression.
Are we straying into the mystical here, or quantum physics?
He means a code book. 2 agents communicate using a single text known only to them.
There are new indicators, abstracted from the record of travel of Magnus Pym while deputy head of station in Washington. His visits to 11 American cities have been mapped.
And 9 of those cities received a visit on the same days from this man. Look at these. Face familiar to any of you?
Comical-looking fellow. That could be a clown's moustache.
I remember those twinkly eyes. He's a journalist. Pets?
Correct. Hans Albrecht Petz, Czech journalist.
Also Jerry Zavorsky.
Same man. Also a journalist, West German, but of Czech origin.
And Alexander Hampel, Czech intelligence officer.
Same man again, and in the same American cities at the same time as your Pym on at least 9 occasions. Magnus took a holiday on Lesbos a few months ago. Pets, Hampel, Zaworski was there too.
You told me Dad was all right.
Oh, so he is, but he has to stay undercover for a while. No. Look at this.
That's him.
That's who?
The old man on Lesbos, the one with the limp. The one Dad met at the cricket match.
Your dad's letter to you, he mentioned a book you should read someday. Tells us the world is mad and getting madder.
But we can still be happy and free. Simplicissimus.
That's it. Your mum mentioned it too. Read it yet?
No. Even my German master hasn't read it yet.
And Uncle Sid, your dad says you can always go to Uncle Sid. Never heard of this uncle.
He's not really my uncle. Sid Lemon. He was a friend of Grandad's. Looked after Dad when he was small. And if Dad's all right, why have the police been here? Why was an inspector from Scotland Yard here in the school asking about him?
So there I was, Tom, happy and free in a world gone mad and getting madder, roving around late 50s Czechoslovakia, filling up my order book for best of British electrical equipment. And at the same time, I was photographing forbidden sites, collecting documents from behind cisterns and behind loose stones in graveyard walls, leaving money in their place, and talking to furtive men in stinking dives and respectable hotels. The next bit of the story you should enjoy, Tom. It's a bit of an adventure and has a gun in it. You, Jack, should appreciate the tradecraft. How quickly I assessed the situation and knew instantly what role to play. The story begins as I return to my room in one of those quiet hotels.
Stand still, raise your hands.
Magnus Richard Pym.
Good God.
You are charged with espionage, provocation of the people, and incitement to treason.
It's ridiculous. I'm a salesman.
You have been under surveillance since you entered our country. Give the gun to me.
Sir, I demand to see the British consul.
Search his room, but don't remove anything.
Yes, sir.
Now, you will turn around and walk slowly out to the corridor. Turn left towards the service stairs.
Outrageous.
Move! Don't leave here till you receive orders from me.
Sir.
This is not only outrageous, it's scandalous.
Just drive, take the next left.
Did your brutal regime want scandal in the British and American papers? My government will insist on more than an apology. Exposure, punishment.
Very good. Englishman might almost be taken for genuine outrage.
You're going to shoot me while I'm driving? And what if I swerve off the road, crash the car?
I may well survive, but you will certainly be dead. Take the next right and drive slowly.
Vodka, bread, sausage, gherkins.
And no microphones, as in hotel rooms and cars. So, Sir Magnus, once upon a time a barn, now a ruined summer house. By the way, they have a photograph of you and me coming out of that barn. They want me to blackmail you. You must spy for us again. If you don't agree, they'll hang you. They'd rather hang an American, but an Englishman is a decent second best. They might well hang me, too. What will they find in your room? Only I can get you out of this. You don't trust me?
You haven't put down the gun.
Sir Magnus, I'm so sorry. Here, you take it.
Just put it on the table, Axel. Film, secret ink, code books, blueprints and other papers in the lid of my suitcase. A talcum powder tin that's a camera. An escape map in the lining of a tie, and $5,000.
No atom bomb? Here. Cheers, Sir Magnus.
Good health, Axel. You look as if you could use some.
I've been back in a couple more prisons and hospitals since you saw me last.
4 years? 5?
But behold, I am risen. And you too must rise. We will rise together. I look after your career and you look after mine. We go for the biggest diamonds in the biggest banks.
What do you You mean America?
How can we be fully risen till we've spied on the land of the free? We take our revolution to them and bring some of their riches to us.
And we meet in the middle ground.
Yes, in our own country with a population of 2. Both champions.
I'm not sure I have it in me to go stealing British secrets again, let alone American.
Of course you have. You are a searcher. You have betrayed much. I know you have betrayed me.
Excellent.
I've always known. But in you, nature has produced a perfect match. That good heart of yours and your gift for lying. Often when you lie, Sir Magnus, you are telling the truth. What a gift that is. You are a perfect spy. All you need is a cause. I have it.
Prisons, torture, lies.
Our revolution is young and the wrong people are running it. We pursue freedom and build too many prisons. We pursue peace and make war. But in the long run, Magnus, we could make a society that will never again produce sad little fellows like you.
Or tall, skinny, broken ones like you.
Excellent. Perfect. So, we sit, drink, eat, and we make a new world together. We rise together. And now I say it. You are a good man. And I love you.
If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And if ye have not been faithful in that which is
The
another
English
man's,
church in Vienna.
who will give you that
Congregation.
which is your own?
Diplomats and their wives, military personnel and their wives, a few locals in out of the cold. Maybe like this one behind me, leaning too close. Georgie's at least 7 pews away, gazing at the handsome young minister, but always with an eye on me. And this old man, I know he's old, is leaning closer still. I can smell stale cigar, peppermint, and illness.
I can help you find him. I will send a message to the house.
This is the address of that uncle who isn't an uncle.
Sid Lemon. Well done, Kate.
Whoever visited Tom's school wasn't a friend. Not the firm and not the police.
The opposition. The Czechs.
Do you still think the Czechs are Magnus's opposition? That Magnus is somehow or other still straight? One of us?
I've known him since he was 16.
But you're no longer sure?
A book, a German Simplicissimus. Have it checked out as the possible code book, the non-random text, as the Yanks called it.
Logical linguistic progression.
Right, and don't ask stupid questions. Of course I'm not sure. You can never be sure.
It's a book to be rebound, that's all.
Covering letter, Mary?
Just a notice from B. Lederer, a friend.
May we see the note?
How polite of you to ask.
Nice book. The Art of Painting by C.A. de Fresnoy.
Dear Mary, picked this up for pennies and wondered whether you would like to bind it for me.
How much would you get for a job like this?
Usual fee, she says here. Full hide, buckram, and the title printed in gold capitals between the first and second band on the spine.
Knows what she wants, eh?
B usually does. Now, you've read the letter, held it up to the light, you've rifled through all the pages in the book, so unless you want to take it away for X-ray, may I get on with my work?
It was you who taught me to do this, Magnus, back in Berlin, when we were using a bookshop as a dead letterbox. Use a damp rag to soak off the end paper. A book this age, the original glue would be animal and would have crystallized. But this isn't the original. It's been replaced. Stuck on with flour paste. Responds quickly to water. Yes. Here it comes. That note wasn't from B. Not her handwriting. And she wouldn't know buckram from plastic. Now for the board. Scalpel. Modern millboard. Disintegrates easily like dry earth. Easy. Easy. And here it is. Same handwriting.
Any afternoon between 2 and 6, take coffee in Café Mozart. Mr. Koenig will collect you.
Berlin in the 60s, Jack. Oh, what a time we had. In the vibrant, terrifying capital of the Cold War. You and I ran agents of influence, agents of disruption, of sabotage and disinformation. We ran smugglers and tunnelers, listeners and watchers, and forgers and couriers, seducers and assassins. And all the time, Axel and I exchanged our film and our documents, and every new year we drank and toasted, next year in America. And it was in Berlin, Tom, that I met and courted and married your mother. In fact, I took her away from her boss and mine, Uncle Jack. Did you know that? She's been a wonderful mother to you, an excellent cover for me. Not that there wasn't love, but that came later. Of course, in Berlin, you could be roused from your bed at 3 a.m. and driven to a police station by 2 men in leather jackets who might be very special policemen indeed. It happened to me.
Oh, God in heaven, son! They've picked you up as well?
No. The Commandant recognised the name. I'm here to get you out.
Well, thank the Lord for that. Look at the toilet they throw me in. And nothing to eat but stinking German sausage. What kind of country is this? I'm an honest man doing honest business.
They were trying to sell aeroplanes.
One aeroplane, a wartime classic. Wellington. Perfect, Nick. No, mainly I've been dealing in fur coats. You can really get me out.
What would be the point of having a son in the Foreign Office if you couldn't get you out of a foreign toilet?
Oh, yeah, a great warm, great hug here.
Now listen, Father. Not just out of this place, out of the city, out of the country. It has to be that way.
You get me back to England, son, and I'll never leave it again.
Yes.
Ladies? Sorry. Thank you. Now, the Diplomatic Wives Club's lunch at Manzy's is next Monday, 12:30 sharp. 400 shillings a head, cash, please.
And that includes 2 glasses of wine?
Of course it does, Marjorie.
Thank you.
Before we go any further, I simply must say something about Mary's loss. Her father-in-law.
Yes, we know Magnus has been hit very hard, Mary.
Yes, very hard.
Do you know when he might be back among us?
Mary? You don't mind us mentioning this? Mary?
Oh.
You all right?
I'm so sorry. Oh, this is absurd, but I think I'm going to... Please, excuse me.
Oh, Mary. Oh, my dear Mary. Was Magnus so very close to his father?
No, not for a long... Oh, dear God, Caroline, this is beyond ridiculous.
Hush now. What about a little lie down?
It's just that his father's business has turned out to be... Oh, that doesn't matter. No, thanks. Not a lie down. Maybe a walk in your back garden. Fresh air.
Excellent, Norton. Just the thing. You'll need your coat.
And my bag too, please.
Fergus and Georgie can sit out front and watch my car for hours if they want. Here's the garden. There's the path. Walk it slowly until it dips me out of sight. Then move fast, but don't run to the gate, to the road, to the bus stop. There's one every 14 minutes. I know. I looked them up. Training. Nothing quite like it for cooling the blood. I know this technique. We called it paper chasing in Berlin. How to make an encounter with someone you don't trust. And of course, I am not to be trusted. The Mozart Cafe. Half empty. But someone will have watched me arrive. Will be watching still to see if I've been followed. Take note of everyone around me. Look out the big window often for any sign of a stakeout. I should have worn a hat to seem more like a respectable single woman.
Frau Pym?
Yes?
Herr König is very sorry. He left this note for you.
Thank you.
Pay bill and leave cafe. Turn right. Walk slowly, admiring shop windows.
Frau Pym, I am from Herr König. Please follow.
All senses alight. I smell frost and delicatessen and petrol and tobacco and fear. Turn left, turn right again, then across a square and a brown Peugeot is waiting.
You will get in, please, Frau Pym?
Where the hell are you? Where the hell am I? Damn you, Magnus. Where are you taking me?
You will please get out now, Frau Pym. You walk to end of street, turn left. First entrance is to jeweler shop. Pause to look in window. Third entrance is to apartment building. Go in. In lobby will be tall woman in black coat. If she carries nothing, go home. If she carries rolled newspaper, take lift to apartment 6. I shall repeat.
End of street, left, jeweler's window, third entrance, black coat, no newspaper, I go home, newspaper there, I take lift to 6.
You are good, Frau Pym.
It's the training.
You are a courageous woman, Mrs. Pym.
Who are you? Where is Magnus?
I don't know where he is, but I have been your husband's friend since he was 16 years old. Jack Brotherhood, of course, has known him just as long. Now, if we find Magnus, he will be made safe and he will be rewarded. But if Jack Brotherhood finds him, he will be punished. Hard. He will be in an English prison for the rest of his life.
I'm not a policeman, Mr. Lemon.
You stroll about like a copper. Smell like one.
Like I told you, I'm a friend of Magnus's.
Brotherhood. Never heard Titch had a pal like you. Never heard of such a name come to that.
You've got a Union Jack and a pole in your front garden.
Scarecrow. Keeps away foreigners and cops. Don't always work.
That flag is my line of business.
Right. Not a kind of copper. Here's what I'll do for you. You tell me what you want, and I'll tell you to piss off. Is that fair?
Listen, you old crook.
Mind my heart.
Sid Lemon, Uncle Sid. You've been bending and breaking the law since you were a tit yourself.
Not as good as an uncle.
You've done time.
Line of duty.
Duty to Magnus's vicious con man dad.
He was a genius.
Who's Poppy?
No idea.
Who's Sabina?
A racehorse?
What made that mark on the carpet? Here, in the corner.
The fairies.
There was a heavy bit of furniture here until very recently, and the tyre tracks in your drive, a lorry to haul away whatever was in this corner. What was it? And where's it gone?
America. America at last. America in the 70s, Jack. And Axel and I romping through all the states like thieving children, and thieving from children. The Yanks truly are open-hearted, and so open-handed with their secrets. Hey, Magnus, that naval attaché of yours has been angling for a look at this for months. Keep it quiet, old buddy. So the attaché had a look, and London had a look, and Prague had a look. Axel was a boyish pilgrim. He insisted we visit the Space Museum and Disneyland, and the statue of Nathan Hale, the patron saint of spies, hanged by the British. Last words, I only regret I have but one life to lose for my country. How many lives did we have, Axel and I, to sacrifice for our country of 2? From Washington, I flew and trained and drove to New York, Boston, New Orleans, Dallas, many others. And in too many cities I was traced and followed and found and trapped.
This the best you can do for me, a grubby little diner?
It's clean enough.
They can't make a decent chip. And you look out of place with the fancy tailoring and the posh accent.
Education and the company I keep. Reminds me, how's Uncle Sid these days?
I haven't seen Sid Lemon in years. You know where I'm living now, son? A new high-end development on the edge of the city, but only because they let the right kind of people settle in rent-free for 2 months, you know, inducement to buy. High-end maybe, but not a home. What's a home, man? Underneath the arches? And when do I get to meet this grandson of mine?
I know how you do this.
I can do it because I can still put on the show. I turn up at their offices and I'm still the right kind of people. But for how long, Magnus? When the cash flow's as jumpy as this old ticker of mine, it's getting harder. Maybe like an actor, stage fright can hit at any age.
I meant I know how you find me here in Chicago, a couple of months ago in Dallas. You've been using that supposedly failing heart of yours.
Suppose? You want to see a letter from my doctor? For pity's sake, Magnus!
Embassy travel clerk. You've conned him into letting you know when I'm out of town. So you can reach me when the ticker alarm goes off.
Magnus, I need help. Honest to God, I'm ill and I'm failing. I could go all the way down this time. You've got connections. You've got power.
I could use my connections to put you in jail and then have you deported and put in another jail in England.
You twisted, ungrateful little shit. Who paid for that education? That suit, that accent.
As for your grandson, if you so much as try to lay your eyes on my boy, I will use my connections to have you shot. No, I didn't say that. I did not threaten to kill my father. Where's the burn box on top of the filing cabinet? It was here on the floor between my feet. Anyway, killing him isn't enough. I know that now.
What happened to the people he betrayed?
Magnus hates bloodshed. He always made that clear.
That never stopped people shedding blood. Is he a communist? No, that's ridiculous.
Well, is he a capitalist? Is that ridiculous? My understanding is that your husband is attracted only to human beings, not to ideas at all. And such an imitator of so many human beings. I have looked at him sometimes and thought, Sir Magnus, that is my nickname for him. Who are you? How many bits and pieces of other people do you assemble to create? Forgive me. Where was I?
Your understanding. Human beings.
What about one human being? His mother has crossed my mind. He told me that 10, 12 years ago, he rescued her from some institution, set her up in a nice little house by the sea. He talked about the walks and picnics on the beach, how she loved the church clock chimes, how much he enjoyed taking care of her garden. Too obvious?
Yes. Jack Brotherhood's people have been there. Nothing. So, you don't know where he is, and neither do I. Why am I here?
I have tried to persuade Magnus several times to come over to us. The game has grown too dangerous for him. I told him this back in America.
And a few months ago on Lesbos.
And he always refused. So I had the idea that you and your son might care to start a new life in Czechoslovakia.
What?
Then Magnus would be strongly tempted to join you. I have even here passports and other papers for you.
Good God.
I know. Absurd. You are not defector material. And your son, Tom. To uproot him from home and school. But think of this. Tom with a disgraced father in prison for life. And as Magnus's wife, you would be given a fine home. And there are nowadays excellent schools in Czechoslovakia.
Utterly absurd.
Yes, it is. But as you know, so is much else in our business. Listen, I have not only worked with your husband for 30 years. I have loved him that long. If Brotherhood takes him, it may be more than a lifetime in prison. He may not survive. Mary, this is the truth. Magnus coming over to us is the only way he can be saved.
Poppy! Poppy! Where are you, Poppy?
Who is Poppy, Sir Magnus?
There you are. You're Poppy. It's a name I give you sometimes, only to myself. In remembrance. Dear Poppy.
You are very drunk and very loud.
It's Independence Day. We're free to be noisy and drunk. Now, I must tell you...
Magnus, listen, we have to get out.
Out where?
Out of America. We have stayed too long and been too greedy. The clever Yanks at Langley and their clever computers have begun to see a pattern.
There is no pattern, never was.
Our signatures, Sir Magnus, our tracks and traces, they have begun to follow them. And we must run.
Nonsense! Where was I? Ah, yes, I told you that when my father died, they laid him in the bath, had him on ice, because they couldn't afford a funeral. But I didn't tell you the rest.
Your father?
I didn't tell you the worst part. I've told no one. I can only tell you, Poppy.
Magnus!
So here it is. There he was, in the
Magnus,
bath.
I didn't know your father had died. You didn't tell me.
No! Of course not, because he isn't. Oh, where was I?
Yes, where are you, Sir Magnus?
The embassy burn box is back where it was, on the floor between my feet. I assume I fetched it back, but I have no memory of doing so. I do remember pacing the floor, like a prisoner measuring his cell. But I'm not in prison. I can walk out of here any time I want. I'm free to go.
A furniture van, but with no company name. Call it Lemons. Package for Canterbury.
Sit down, Jack.
It could be the destination, or it could be the name Pym's using. He had a fondness for places as cover names. Mr. Hull, Colonel Wentworth, no Canterbury.
Jack.
The package was his father's old filing cabinet.
The book was a match. Simplicissimus. It was their code book.
And Mary has disappeared. She took a walk in the garden at some women's meeting. Vanished.
She was traced to the Imperial Hotel in Vienna, but she was gone. Didn't check out.
Another vanishing.
She's good. She knows the game.
And we've just heard she may have been on an early flight to London this morning or a late flight to Berlin last night.
So she could be here, there, or somewhere else.
As you say, she's good.
Can she have known all along?
She convinced me she didn't. Near enough.
You can never be sure.
No choice now. A general alert. His photograph to every police station in the country, then the press.
I have to be there. When you take him, I have to be there.
Because of what's in the burn box. It's not names and code names have you worried so much. Magnus will have them in his head anyway. I worked out what else must be in there.
So sorry to disturb, Nigel, but Mrs. Pym, she says she has something dreadfully...
Excuse me.
Mary?
I had more trouble getting into an office in London than I had outwitting all of you in Vienna.
Where the hell have you been?
At a meeting with my husband's partner in crime. He said Magnus told him that he'd put his mother in a house by the sea. He doesn't have a mother. But there's a place in Devon, Farley Abbot. He spoke about it in our early days like a boyhood dream of English heaven. He even sang the praises of the bloody church clock. He hasn't mentioned it for years, but that's where he is now. I'm sure of it. And he's with a woman. Farley Abbot. And I have to be there.
She's a Miss Dubber, 82 years old, lived here most of her life, has been running a small boarding house for the last 30 years. Mr. Pym, under the name of Canterbury, has stayed with her many times, beginning quite a number of years ago.
10 years.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Maybe 12.
Mr. Canterbury, Mr. Pym, helps with the garden, does odd jobs and shopping for Miss Dubber. He's well liked in the community.
He's always well liked, everywhere.
Of course you know Magnus, don't you? The first thing Mary would ask. What about all the people you betrayed? Agents, informers, bystanders? What happened to them? Would you have the sheer gall to tell her you insisted from the start how much you hated bloodshed? If you did, you'd know you've really lost your magical gift of plausibility. Then again, she would have a bit of a cheek even asking that question. Mary knows the game. Its rules. Its shifting rules. Its cost. She's a spy herself. They're out there, Magnus. Like foxes in the alleys and cats on the roofs. But brave boys, one and all. Now be brave yourself and get that burn box open.
If we're able to set up phone communication with your husband, you'll be willing to talk to him?
Of course I will. I'll tell him to get himself out here and stop making himself so bloody ridiculous.
In the meantime, madam, perhaps you'd like to wait in the church hall? Quite a number of locals in there, safe and warm.
Mary? No, she's fine where she is.
You mustn't start your engine, sir. So, no heater. And it could be all night.
Then I'll sit here and freeze and watch the tidy little garden of his cosy little house.
Why the hell did you bring that filing cabinet here? You haven't even opened it. Forget it. Nothing in there but junk. No explanation, no justification, no absolution. So just get on with it. The burn box. First key, turn again, and remove. Second key, turn anti-clockwise. Well done. Now draw out that lovely, hideous thing and get it loaded and cocked. Then it's stripped down naked for you, my lad, and get yourself across that corridor and into that bathroom.
Yes, Superintendent?
Question from the roof, sir. Do we know the type and calibre of weapon Mr. Pym is alleged to have in his possession?
Standard Browning, 3.8 automatic.
He's not a maniac. He's not going to come out guns blazing.
He'll have one magazine, maybe a spare.
His marksmanship?
Well, he's been trained, but he's never fired a gun in anger.
Because he doesn't get angry.
Has he ever taken anybody prisoner?
Us. All of us.
What do you think you look like? Sitting there on the edge of the bath, stark naked except for a towel as a hood and another as a cape. But yes, if there's one thing Miss Dubber hates, it's a mess, so let's keep it to a minimum. No, don't panic. The bath behind you is empty. The one your father was in was another bath altogether, long ago, far away, lying on his bed of ice, laid out by those two sad old lovelies. Rose and Lily, was it? Why didn't you close his eyes? Don't panic. Lean into the gun. But his eyes are open. Oh, we did close them, love, but they opened again. Afraid so, Magnus. They would keep opening. And here we are without a penny in the house. Lean in, as if you're trying to catch a still, small voice. The whisper of God. My father's wide eyes, dead as glass, cold as ice, burning me with anger and resentment and love and the gleam of a flick knife. Killing him isn't enough.
In A Perfect Spy by John le Carré, dramatised for radio by Robert Forrest, Magnus was played by Julian Rhind-Tutt, Axel by Anton Lesser, Mary, Ruth Gemmell, Jack, Bill Paterson, Rick, Michael Maloney, Kate, Tracy Wiles, Georgie, Samara McLaren, Fergus, Tom Stewart, Nigel, Gerard McDermott, Caroline, Aoife McMahon, Sid Lemon and the Police Superintendent, Ewan Bailey, and Tom by Adam Thomas Wright. Other parts were played by the cast. A Perfect Spy was a BBC Scotland production directed by Bruce Young.